Pokémon, medicine and martial arts. Welcome back, brave explorers of impossible worlds. We are excited to have you here to continue this odyssey together. Before we continue, everything you'll hear is pure fiction, so please don't try to replicate combat techniques at home. This wonderful story and all its rights belong to its brilliant original author. We are only the messengers of entertainment. Want another dose of adventure? Subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss a single chapter, and if you can't wait, our Patreon has exclusive surprises you'll love. Chapter 1 Yi-Yu. Pokémon are incredible creatures on this planet 100, 200, 300, 400. No one knows their exact number. Yet, Pokémon can be found in every corner of the world, in the sky, in the ocean, on the mountains, in the forests, on the grasslands, and even in the cities. Humans and Pokémon alike strive for the Pokémon Battle Championship. They collaborate, battle, become friends, partners, and, with a shared understanding, cultivate together and continue their adventures with their companions. As many encounters as there are Pokémon, countless adventures await. And somewhere in this world, new encounters are sure to emerge. Perhaps that encounter will be the beginning of a story to be told. In this world of Pokémon, people live alongside them. Their origins are unknown, but these creatures possess myriad magical powers. When people are happy, they rejoice, and when they are sad, they grieve as well. Some live in harmony with Pokémon, benefiting and supporting them. Others exploit them for evil, while others rely on their power to heal the wounded and the dying. Beyond the Pokémon, this planet also hosts those capable of confronting them, the warriors. Like the Pokémon, these individuals are scattered across the globe. Some, detached from worldly concerns, retreat into seclusion in the mountains, cultivating their strength. Some pledge their loyalty to their nation and become its wielders. Some, abandoning their prideful warrior hearts, become pawns of evil, endangering Pokémon and the people. Some, eager to avenge their righteousness, wield their swords and kill anyone in 10 steps. Travel thousands of miles without stopping. And some. This is a secret place in the Xiaozhi Mountains of China. The mountains are distinct from the outside. The outside is already blanketed in white snow, while here, flowers bloom and birds sing. From time to time, a pigeon or sparrow would fly by, while an arbok or a smelly tadpole would forage for winter food. A grown Rattata and her young would chase and playfully play with each other in the grass. Not far from these playful Pokémon, a boy, perhaps 10 years old, sat cross-legged. A modern Chinese person would be astonished to see this. He was dressed in a moon-white Guangling python robe, a moon-white geometric belt tied around his waist. His long, flowing hair cascaded down his snow-white neck. His figure stood straight, his presence truly relaxed, fresh, and handsome. He looked as if he had stepped from ancient times. His eyes were closed, his brows slightly furrowed. His moon-white python robe was slightly damp, and a thin layer of sweat seeped through his shirt, revealing the strain he was undergoing. Suddenly, his face flushed, and a puff of white smoke slowly rose from his crown. After an unknown amount of time, the flush on the boy's face slowly faded, replaced by a pale complexion. He was drenched in sweat, as if he had just been pulled out of the water. His tightly closed eyes slowly opened, revealing a pair of clear, lake-like eyes. Perhaps it was because he hadn't adjusted to staying closed for so long, so he could only squint slightly, but even that couldn't hide the joy on his face. He ignored his fatigue and his sweat-soaked clothes, and quickly stood up and rushed deeper into the mountains. He knocked over countless Pokémon along the way, sending weaker and smaller ones flying. Some of the faster ones, unwilling to give in, even competed with him in speed. Eventually, after knocking over and defeating countless Pokémon, the boy arrived at a small cabin deep in the mountains. He reached out, intending to open the door and step inside. Before he could even do so, he saw a powerful-looking Pokémon with explosively muscular arms and a belly bulging with patterns resembling incense. Swimper. It's you, Swimper. Is the master in there? The boy asked with a smile, noticing it was Swimper. Swimper, Swimper, Swimper replied with a cheerful nod, slightly sideways to let him in. From now on, if you don't know the Pokémon's calls, I'll use the first 2 characters of their names instead. Please bear with me. After entering the cabin and walking down the corridor to the entrance of a small courtyard, he encountered a man who looked to be in his 50s or 60s, with white hair and a youthful face, his eyes sparkling. A colorful veil fluttered in the wind. He had seen nothing of the mundane world, and nothing of the worldly affairs of life. He resembled a sage, A hermit, reclining in a rocking chair, a teapot in one hand, stroking his beard with the other, his eyes closed, his expression thoroughly relaxed. Next to him crawled a slender, blue quadrupedal mammal. Its torso was speckled with white diamonds, its face and underside white, and it sported a thick purple beard, symbolizing the aurora borealis. Its tail swirled forward like a ribbon. Its snout protruded forward, tinged with white. A large, hexagonal, sky blue crest, resembling a Kirin's horn, rested on its forehead. It was a Pokémon with red eyes, a prominent jaw, and small, white padded paws. It was none other than Suicune, the embodiment of the North Wind, one of the 3 sacred beasts of the Ho-Oh throne, endowed with the power to walk on water and purify it, and whose presence inexplicably caused the North Wind to blow. Suicune, upon hearing the footsteps, looked up, saw Yu, and barked at him, then lowered his head again, not giving Yu a chance to greet him. Yu didn't care. He ran up to the old man with a smug look on his face and said excitedly, "Master, Master. I've made a breakthrough and reached the 7th level of warrior. I'm only 3 levels away from becoming a grandmaster. I'm awesome, right?" Note, warriors are divided into 3 major levels: warrior, grandmaster, and grandmaster. Each major level is further divided into 1 to 9 smaller stages. Ha ha ha, ha ha ha. Yu couldn't help but laugh out loud with excitement. The old man lying in the rocking chair also opened his eyes at this time. When he heard Yu's words, a barely detectable glint flashed in his eyes. But after seeing Yu like that, his brows frowned imperceptibly, his face turned dark, he snorted coldly, and started to scold. "HMPH, what are you laughing at? It's just a breakthrough in a small realm. Do you need to be so happy? Do you think you are so powerful now? There are many people in the world who are more powerful than you. If they yell and scream like you when they break through, what will happen?" At this time, Yu, who had just been excited, had a handsome face flushed red because of the scolding, as if he was poured with a basin of cold water, and he felt chilled to the bone. He was dejected and frustrated. Looking at Yu's depressed face, the old man smiled slightly and didn't discourage him. His stern expression just now turned back to his original amiable look and said, "Okay, don't look so bitter. The fact that you can reach the 7th level of warrior at your age proves that your talent is not bad. You even surpass your senior sister by 1 small level. But you should not be proud. What I said to you just now is true. Remember that the road of martial arts is very difficult. But there are also many masters in this world. I won't talk about those far away. In our country, there are also many hidden sects and extraordinary people like us." Yu smiled again after hearing the first words, and nodded seriously after hearing the second words. At this time, the old man stood up and said, "Okay, stop showing off. To be honest, your current skills are not good enough. Don't always be immersed in cultivation, go to the secular world to cultivate a good state of mind. Otherwise, your state of mind cannot keep up with your realm and you will go astray." Yu nodded at first, not quite understanding, and then began to complain, "It's so boring to practice every day, and I dare not say that I have learned all of your 2 medical skills, but I have learned 7 or 8 levels, and it is not a problem to save a person or a Pokemon. Master, when will you be willing to teach me Pokemon battles?" The old man ignored his complaints directly, took out an ancient jade ring from his arms and threw it to Yu, saying, "This is a storage ring, just think of it as a gift for your breakthrough." Yu took it and looked at it, curled his lips in disdain, and muttered softly, "Isn't it just a broken ring? I already have a space backpack, why do I need it?" What a stingy master. Who is that old man? With his abilities, he certainly heard Yu's mumblings. His nose twisted in anger, he pointed at Yu and cursed, "You idiot, don't be ungrateful. I'd only give it to you because you're my disciple. It's a shame to give it to someone else who begs me. Don't underestimate this ring. It's like a space backpack. Although it's constructed using the same principles of space, its space holding capacity won't collapse, whereas a space backpack will collapse with the passage of time." He paused, then added, "And it's something money can't buy. Storage rings like this are only found in secluded families or ancient ruins. So you must cherish it and quickly swear by it with your blood, connecting your heart to it." Surprised, Yu quickly put the ring away, swearing by it with his blood, as if afraid the old man would change his mind. The old man sat by and watched in amusement. Then, Yu resumed his conversation with the old man. A breeze blew by, and a dark shadow flashed by. Suicune had taken advantage of Yu Yu's conversation with the old man and disappeared somewhere. He arrived on the ground in front of Yu Yu, carrying a pure aqua blue egg. "What's with that egg on Suicune's back?" Yu Yu asked the old man, holding the egg in his hand with a puzzled look. "This is my second gift for you. I know besides training, your favorite thing is playing with Pokemon. So, I'm giving you an egg to nurture. How is it going? Are you happy? Are you excited?" The old man replied with a hint of a smile. Yu Yu was speechless after hearing this and asked, "Isn't it true that you can't have Pokemon until you're 16 years old? Note, in the Pokemon world, you can get Pokemon at the age of 10. The plot needs to be changed, please forgive me, so I'm giving you an egg and asking you to wait for it to hatch and raise it well, so. Does it make any difference if I give it to you early or late? I'll give it to you early so you can be happy." "Oh, I can't be happy at all. I finally got a Pokemon, but it's just an egg. You have to be patient. It will hatch sooner or later. By the way, you haven't told me yet. What Pokemon is in this egg? You want to know what Pokemon it is?" I won't tell you. This is the author's first time writing a book. If there are any inappropriate things in the book, please point them out or leave a comment in the book review section. Thank you all. Chapter 2 Scolding. Yu Yu, who had been full of anticipation, went completely berserk after hearing the old man's words. Seeing Yu Yu's gloomy expression, the old man laughed unkindly. Suddenly, the old man's smile faded, replaced by a serious expression. Seeing the old man like this, Yu Yu, who was standing by, also put away his frantic expression and pretended to listen attentively. The old man nodded imperceptibly, then flipped his palm and a pale yellow egg appeared in his hand. Seeing the egg in the old man's hand, Yu Yu was slightly stunned, and many doubts suddenly came to his mind. Why did the master take out another egg? Could this egg also be for me? The old man ignored Yu Yu's doubtful look, and his old eyes, which had been a little cloudy due to laziness, now brightened a little. As he looked at the egg in his hand, there was a faint tinge of nostalgia. "I won this egg in a bet with that stingy old man, old Lin." Just think about how furious he was back then, and now thinking about it, it feels so good. The old man, who had been so serious just a moment ago, suddenly said this boastfully. Suddenly, out of the corner of his eye, he caught sight of Yu Yu, who looked stunned. His face flushed, and he coughed twice to ease the awkwardness. He then handed the Pokemon egg to the still stunned Yu Yu, saying quietly, "You're right. This Pokemon egg is for you, too. Are you confused now? I already gave you a Pokemon egg before, so why am I giving you another one now?" the old man asked. Yu Yu nodded in confusion. Before he could even ask his question, the old man spoke first. "Weren't you curious about that pale blue Pokemon egg? What Pokemon is the offspring?" Yu Yu was stunned for a moment at the old man's question, then a wave of delight. He knew the old man all too well. Whenever he heard this, he'd always deliver the answer Yu Yu so eagerly awaited. Sure enough, Yu Yu's heartbeat quickened after the old man's next words. Though they were only 2 short words, they still made him nearly leap for joy. If he weren't afraid of another scolding from the old man, he would have laughed out loud again, expressing his excitement. He'd heard the word Suicune, his excitement faded, and then came disbelief. That was Suicune, one of the 3 sacred beasts of the Phoenix O, known as the incarnation of the North Wind. He looked at Suicune, who had stood quietly beside the old man since handing him the egg, and asked in a trembling voice, "Suicune, Suicune, are you really going to give me this Pokemon egg and let me raise it?" Upon hearing Yu Yu's question, Suicune raised his eyes, pure and untouched by the world, imbued with the majesty only of a mythical beast. He met Yu Yu's bright gaze. At that moment, time seemed to stand still. A gentle breeze rustled through the treetops, bringing with it the sound of rustling and the fragrance of grass. Then, the breathtaking natural breeze blew Yu Yu's long, tied-back hair. As if blowing away the lingering anxiety within him, Suicune gazed at Suicune calmly. After a long moment, as if truly accepting Yu Yu, the sternness in Suicune's eyes slowly faded, revealing a gentler expression. He looked at Yu Yu, who had been a little uneasy before, now calmly meeting his gaze. He smiled humanely at Yu Yu and nodded in affirmation. Receiving Suicune's approval, Yu Yu immediately flashed a happy, relaxed smile. He carefully placed the pale yellow Pokemon egg in his hand on a patch of soft grass at his feet. Then gave Suicune's egg a few passionate kisses. The old man stood by, watching the scene quietly, his lips curling up airily. After Yu Yu's excitement subsided, he picked up the Pokemon egg lying on the grass. His eyes sparkled as he looked at the old man, still watching, wondering what Pokemon this time would be. Raikou, Zapdos, or Ludour. The old man knew what Yu was thinking from the gleaming look. However, he didn't point it out. Instead, he looked at Yu with amusement and said, "The Pokemon in this egg isn't Raikou, Zapdos, or Ludour. Could it be Zekrom?" Yu exclaimed in disbelief before the old man could finish. Before he could finish, Yu interrupted him. The old man didn't get angry, but smiled, shook his head, and continued, "It's not a Zekrom, but a Pichu beloved by so many women." Yu, who had been fantasizing about wreaking havoc with Zekrom, had his beautiful fantasies shattered by the first half of the old man's words. He still had a glimmer of hope, but the second half ruthlessly shattered it, dealing 100,000 points of critical damage. "Master, you're tricking me again. Putting aside the combat power, shouldn't that cute appearance belong exclusively to girls? What on earth do you mean by giving it to me now? It's truly abhorrent, Yu muttered softly. Though Yu's complaint was quiet, the old man still heard it. His face darkened and he sternly berated Yu. "What did you say, little bastard? Say it again." Yu flinched in fear at the old man's rebuke, not daring to breathe. Looking at the old man's stern expression, Yu knew that he was very angry. Seeing Yu like this, the old man, whose expression had not yet eased, looked even more distressed and scolded Yu. "Little bastard, do you really love your baby? If not, then just stay and study medicine and martial arts with me. Then you can just give up your dream of becoming a Pokemon Master, because you have already lost to others before you even started. No, don't talk nonsense. I like a Pokemon, every Pokemon, and I will never give up my dream of becoming a Pokemon Master." Yu, who had not dared to breathe, raised his head and replied excitedly after listening to the old man's scolding, his bright eyes full of determination. "Ha ha ha, good, very good. You're worthy of being my disciple, Zhao Kuang. I have no objection to your pursuit of your dreams, I support you. But you must remember these 3 points. First, martial arts training must not be neglected. Only when you possess a strong inner strength can you achieve your dreams and protect those you wish to protect. Second, if a Pokemon chooses you, you are responsible for it, regardless of its strength. Third, there's an agreement between us warriors and Pokemon that warriors must not intentionally harm Pokemon. Harming a Pokemon can lead to the destruction of your cultivation at the very least, or even to the incursion of demonic possession and lifelong disability." Zhao Kuang, who had previously maintained a serious expression, laughed approvingly upon hearing Yu's response, then took on a serious expression and warned Yu. Perhaps realizing he shouldn't have complained about the poor quality of the Pichu Pokemon egg his master had given him, Yu simply nodded silently, acknowledging his understanding. He remained silent, his head bowed in shame. The preceding part is a transitional phase, the plot will become more exciting later. This is the author's first time writing a book, so please point out any shortcomings. Chapter 3 Scolding. Zhao Kuang saw Yu lowering his head and keeping silent, giving perfunctory answers. He was not annoyed, but nodded with relief, and enlightened him. "Yu, you must remember that everyone has his own path in life, faces the choice of fork in the road, and meets some people who can lead people to the right path or the wrong path." After a pause, he said, "And you obviously like the Pokemon itself. Why do you care whether it is strong or not? Powerful Pokemon will only make you strong in the early stage, not forever, while those weak Pokemon can grow with a trainer step by step." Seeing Yu's thoughtful look, Zhao Kuang raised his head and looked at the blue sky above his head where bird Pokemon were flying freely. He seemed to be asking Yu, and whispered as if talking to himself, "What is the most basic responsibility of a Pokemon trainer? That is to cultivate every Pokemon that belongs to him, regardless of its strength." After hearing this, Yu, who was in deep thought, suddenly raised his head as if he had been enlightened, and first gently placed the 2 Pokemon eggs in his hands on the grass. Then he clasped his hands together and bowed towards Suicune and Zhao Kuang, and said solemnly, "Master, Suicune. I'm sorry, I was wrong. But please rest assured now, I will definitely become a qualified Pokemon trainer in the future, and I will not let you down again." Looking at Yu, who was bowing and admitting his mistake in front of him, Zhao Kuang was quite emotional. He just watched quietly for a while, then walked forward and lifted up Yu, who was bowing and admitting his mistake, and said, "Okay, you don't have to be like this. As long as you listen to what I said." Seeing that the master said so, Yu stood up straight. He asked the confusion in his heart, "Master, You said before that there was an agreement between warriors and Pokémon. What is that agreement? Why are the consequences of warriors deliberately hurting Pokémon so serious? After hearing this, Zhao Kuang first showed a sympathetic expression on his face, and said to Yu indignantly, in the ancient times, humans often launched wars and attacked each other. And the Pokémon at that time were called Warcraft. At that time, because the Pokéball had not been invented, some warriors took advantage of their own strong strength and often used force to wantonly capture and tame Pokémon, making Pokémon fight for them. The methods were very extreme. It caused very serious damage to Pokémon, and it was also during that period that the types and numbers of Pokémon decreased a lot. Yu was furious after hearing this. Just as he was about to speak, Zhao Kuang continued in a serious tone, perhaps it was because of this that the creator god Arceus appeared. He led the divine beasts to suppress some of the more powerful warriors. The human warriors were defeated, so they made a peace agreement with the Pokémon led by Arceus. Human warriors are no longer allowed to maliciously harm Pokémon. Once they hurt the martial arts heart of a warrior, they will not make any progress. At the very least, their cultivation will be completely destroyed, and at the worst, they will go into trance and their veins will be broken. After Zhao Kuang finished speaking, the anger in Yu's heart was almost calmed by him. Then, new doubts emerged in his mind. He didn't hold back and asked Zhao Kuang, what if the warriors don't comply? After all, Arceus doesn't know. They won't disobey. When the warriors made the pact with Arceus, the two divine beasts, Dialga, the god of time, and Pokia, the god of space, had already memorized the warrior's unique aura. And while warriors may be powerful, they can't ultimately defeat the laws of heaven and earth. So, if they violate them, their martial spirit will be affected. Zhao Kuang's words were tinged with a sigh, but he still spoke with certainty. Then wouldn't warriors dare to interact with Pokémon? After all, if they were accidentally injured, they could be dead, Yu asked with a hint of uneasiness. Don't worry about that. After generations of refinements, the internal energy of warriors has become somewhat special. While it can still harm Pokémon, it won't endanger their lives. At most, it will knock them unconscious. As long as they don't harm Pokémon, the warriors haven't violated the peace agreement. Hearing the uneasiness in Yu's words, Zhao Kuang smiled faintly and explained, his words brimming with pride. Doesn't it mean the warrior's internal energy has lost its ability to injure people? Yu asked nervously. No. Our warrior's internal energy has simply become less effective at harming Pokémon. All other abilities remain intact, Zhao Kuang replied, still tinged with pride. Alright, enough small talk. Now let me see the results of your months of hard work. Without waiting for Yu's response, he leaped forward and unleashed a sharp right hook straight at Yu's face. Yu was stunned at first. He had never expected that his master would do such a thing. After he reacted, he quickly applied his internal energy to his feet and quickly stepped back, gently placing the two Pokémon eggs on the grass beside him. At the moment when he placed the eggs, Yu suddenly felt a strong wind hitting his face. He was shocked and raised his hand to block it hastily. The fist that was originally very strong turned into a palm and grabbed Yu's arm that was blocking his face at the moment it was about to touch Yu's body. After grabbing Yu's arm, he was about to throw him to the ground. If he fell, his whole body would be broken. Yu's reaction was not slow either. Seeing this, he stomped his body hard on the ground and then used the momentum to hit Zhao Kuang's body with a backing stick, trying to force Zhao Kuang to let go. Bang! Duang! Two soft sounds followed. Yu's backing stick, while striking Zhao Kuang, failed to stop him. Instead, he was thrown to the ground. Thrown to the ground, Yu, convinced that his master's sneak attack had been enough to knock him down so easily, was unwilling to accept this defeat. He immediately gathered his strength and channeled his internal energy throughout his body, hoping to break free from Zhao Kuang's hold. Even after exerting all his energy, Yu remained pinned to the ground, his face flushing red. Perhaps realizing his counterattack was futile, Yu gave up his struggle and obediently allowed himself to be pinned to the ground by Zhao Kuang. Seeing Yu pinned to the ground, his struggle gone, he looked like a dead fish. Zhao Kuang was furious and couldn't help but lecture him again. Yu, you're a gun user. You should understand the gun's unyielding nature and the unyielding spirit of its wielder. The same is true in Pokémon battles. Never give up until the very last moment. Chapter 4 Leaving. Listening to the master's angry scolding for not fighting back, Yu's ashamed heart suddenly had a flash of enlightenment. A subtle and fierce aura spread around him. Zhao Kuang, who was still pinning Yu to the ground, had such a keen eye that he could tell at a glance that Yu had entered the state of enlightenment that is hard to come by. Seeing that Yu had entered the state of enlightenment, Zhao Kuang did not dare to disturb him. He quickly released his suppression of Yu and stepped aside to protect him. He was afraid that Yu would miss this rare opportunity. Yu, who was in enlightenment, seemed to have come to a whole new world. He saw a general with a gun on a battlefield with a blood-stained sky and murderous aura rising to the sky. Although he was outnumbered, he still fought bravely and unyieldingly. The invincible and indomitable aura made Yu's whole body tremble, and his understanding of the gun was further improved. The spear is the king of all weapons. When wielded, one must possess a fearless, unwavering spirit. Any hesitation will prevent one from unleashing the full power of their spear, and one may even be controlled by the opponent. Earlier, Yu hadn't used a spear in his fight with Zhao Kuang, but because he was wary of Zhao Kuang, he was ultimately defeated after just a few moves, though he could have held out for a while longer. In the backyard, Suicune had vanished again. Zhao Kuang had already returned to his chair, sipping tea while watching Yu, who had sat cross-legged on the grass, meditating. Yu, sitting cross-legged on the grass, suddenly opened his eyes. The moment he did, he saw a spear rays, nearly condensing into substance, emanating from his body. Taking in his current state, Yu nodded in satisfaction. This realization not only advanced his understanding of the spear, but also brought him new insights into combat. Feeling the radiance of his own spear, Yu couldn't help but think that if he were to fight his master again, while he still wouldn't be able to defeat him, he could at least hold out a little longer and avoid such a disastrous situation. Even if I risk being sore all over the next day, I'm confident I can pull a few strands off his master's beard. With this thought, Yu stopped nagging. Standing up, he faced Zhao Kuang, challenging him with full fighting spirit, saying, "Master, let's continue. You won't be able to defeat me so quickly this time." Zhao Kuang, who had been sitting leisurely on a chair sipping tea, stopped drinking his tea after hearing Yu's challenge. He shook his head speechlessly and ruthlessly attacked him. "I'm not interested. You're still too weak. Even with your 2 hands and 1 foot, you might not be able to beat me." Hearing this, Yu, who had been full of fighting spirit, wilted like a deflated ball. Zhao Kuang ignored Yu and continued, "Yu, pack up now and leave here tomorrow to experience the secular world." "No. I don't want to leave." "Master, did I do something wrong? Why are you kicking me out? You said I would change. I just beg you not to kick me out. Please." After hearing Zhao Kuang's words, Yu was stunned at first, then said sadly, and at the end, his tone even took on a pleading tone. "No, you didn't do anything wrong. You didn't make me angry. It's just that you're grown up now, and you need to gain sufficient experience and growth." Hearing Yu's heartbroken words, Zhao Kuang was silent for a moment. But then he said, "Don't you still have the dream of becoming a Pokémon Master? How can you achieve it if you stay here?" "Okay, no more words, this is settled." Perhaps Yu's sorrowful tone touched Zhao Kuang, and his words softened at first, but then his tone became more assertive, unyielding. With that, Zhao Kuang stood up from his chair, his hands behind his back, and walked into the cabin. Yu stared blankly at the old figure as he entered the cabin. The next day, early in the morning, the Pokémon living in the forest woke early from their slumber. From time to time, flying Pokémon like Pidgeot and Spearow flew over the forest. Dark shadows streaked through the forest. The mischievous monkey monsters, caught in the act of hunting after stealing the wood gecko's breakfast, were the cause. In the stream, energetic Magikarp leaped from the water, catching the morning light. Everything seemed so peaceful and tranquil. Master, I can't bear to leave you. Please don't chase me away." These words, tinged with sadness and reluctance, suddenly shattered the tranquil scene. They frightened the resting flying Pokémon, sending them scurrying about, making the once peaceful and tranquil morning a scene of bustle. Zhao Kuang looked at Yu, looking pitiful, unmoved. "No, you have to leave, no matter what. And after you leave, I, too, will leave. I don't know when I'll be back again." Yu's already distressed heart was further irritated by his master's reassuring words, tinged with melancholy. He opened his mouth to say something else. Zhao Kuang barked, laughing, all right. There's no need to be so sad. It's not like we'll never see each other again. Now pick a ticket. Whichever ticket you pick, you'll go to that place for training. He chuckled as he covered a place name with a ticket from his space ring and spread it out for Yu to choose. Yu hesitated, then asked expectantly, "So when can we meet again?" Perhaps annoyed by Yu's question, Zhao Kuang's face darkened and he barked at her, "If we're destined to meet, we'll meet. Stop wasting time, choose quickly." Yu, still hesitant about which ticket to choose, was startled by the shout and her hand trembled, causing her fingers to touch one of the tickets. Before Yu could react, Zhao Kuang snatched the ticket out, revealing the word island country written on it. "Master, that doesn't count. I just accidentally touched it." Yu, realizing what he was saying, suddenly panicked. Whoosh, a long whistle interrupted Yu's words. Turning his head, he saw the whistle erupt in waves, radiating outward from Zhao Kuang's position, echoing throughout the forest. The echo faded, and then, from afar, a resounding eagle's cry reached him. Yu looked up and saw a bird with primarily brown feathers, cream-colored face, abdomen, and the inner and outer tips of its wings. Its eye rims were black. Its crown feathers were red on the sides, yellow in the middle, and long enough to flutter in the air. Its fan-shaped tail feathers were red. Its pink claws had 4 toes, 3 facing forward, 1 facing backward. The Pidgeot flew toward them. Its sharp eyes and vast wings gave the Pidgeot an air of kingship, making Yu drool. The Pidgeot, capable of Mach 2 flight, reached Zhao Kuang and Yu in just 2 or 3 breaths. After landing, the Pidgeot nodded humanely to Yu and then looked at Zhao Kuang approaching. Zhao Kuang approached and said with a smile, "Pidgeot. Long time no see. How are you?" As he spoke, he reached out and gently stroked its soft feathers. "Pidgeot, Pidgeot," Pidgeot chirped happily in response. Zhao Kuang turned his head and saw Yu still drooling. He raised his hand and gave him a slap in the face. Seeing his master's sullen expression, Yu recalled his previous gaffe and wished he could find a hole to hide in. Zhao Kuang ignored the still ashamed Yu and turned back to continue his conversation with Pidgeot. After an unknown amount of time, Yu, feeling ashamed, suddenly felt his body lighten. He looked up and saw that his master had picked him up and thrown him onto Pidgeot's back. Before Yu could move, Pidgeot took flight, circling high in the sky and calling out to Zhao Kuang. He looked at the circling Pidgeot and Yu, waving anxiously from its back. Zhao Kuang raised his hand and waved gently, saying loudly, "Pidgeot, I'll leave you with me for the journey. Goodbye, and I wish you a safe journey." The circling Pidgeot barked twice more, expressing his understanding. Then, carrying a reluctant Yu, he flew off into the distance. Watching the receding figure gradually disappear, Zhao Kuang muttered something under his breath, his face filled with reluctance and anticipation. The transition is about to end, and the plot is about to begin. Since the author is new, if you find any shortcomings or have any comments, please leave a message in the book review section. Chapter 5 Encounter. Viridian Forest is a famous forest in the Kanto region of Japan. Connecting Viridian City and Nibe City, its dense trees form a natural maze. Because the environment is ideal for bug-type Pokémon, it's known as a paradise for them. Many novice trainers come here to capture bug-type Pokémon or train their own. Due to the dense cover of trees, Viridian Forest is very dim. Besides bug-type Pokémon, you can also encounter flying-type Pokémon and beloved Pokémon like Pikachu. Because many bug-type Pokémon have poison-type or poison-type moves, trainers prepare antidotes and anesthesia counters before entering the forest. At this moment, somewhere in Viridian Forest, a green caterpillar was leisurely lying on the soft grass, basking in the sun. Suddenly, a gust of wind blew, and the caterpillar was lifted up, even somersaulting several times in the air. The green caterpillar fell to the other side, furious. It was enjoying the sun, but suddenly a gust of wind made it look so miserable. This guy was going to be the king of green caterpillars. If I knew who he was, I would beat him so hard that he wouldn't even recognize his mother. The green caterpillar, furious, looked up to find the source of the wind. A black dot in the sky gradually grew larger. A Pidgeot, twice the size of an ordinary one, was slowly descending, carrying a human boy. The green caterpillar was almost frightened out of its wits by the Pidgeot's domineering appearance, and its anger vanished. It curled up in the grass, shivering, hoping not to be discovered by the Pidgeot. Yes, the boy on the back of the Pidgeot was our hero, Yu. Is Pidgeot in Japan? Yu asked after getting off the Pidgeot's back. Pidgeot nodded. Looking at the surrounding scenery, Yu complained depressedly, "I really don't understand why Master always wants me to go out for training. Isn't it good to stay in the mountains all the time?" Pidgeot nodded, looked at Yu who was complaining in front of him, and called a few times. Then he appeared a letter from nowhere and held it in his mouth. After lowering his head and handing it to Yu who was confused, he flapped his wings and flew away. Looking at the envelope in his hand, Yu was lost in thought for a long time before opening the envelope. In addition to a letter, there was also a card, 2 stickers, and a badge representing Chinese citizenship. This is all the things in the envelope. Yu first read the letter. It read, when you read this, it means you've arrived in Japan, and your training begins from this moment. I know you've always wanted to see the world, but that incident has left you feeling insecure and afraid to interact with others. So, I'm going to use this opportunity to not only gain experience, but also to connect with the outside world. Also, I've deposited 50,000 Alliance coins. Note, from now on, all money in Pokemon will be referred to as Alliance coins, on that Alliance card. And please give those 2 visiting cards to Professor Yukin Ryoki in Pallet Town and Professor Sakuki in Viridian City. And the badge with a 5-pointed star represents your identity, so don't lose it. Finally, remember, your teacher will always be your unwavering support. A warm current flowed through Yu's heart, and he clutched the letter tightly in his hand. His already bright eyes took on an unprecedented firmness. Master, don't worry. I won't let you down, I won't. The young man had already left, but his words, though soft, yet filled with determination, echoed through the dense forest, as if carrying hope for the future. Dividing line. Where on earth is the exit? A frantic voice echoed from somewhere in the forest. A young man, dressed in ancient Chinese robes, looked disheveled and frantically tugging at his hair. The frantic young man suddenly heard a scream. Curious, he followed a sound and came to a patch of grass. Parting the grass, he saw a little girl, a year or 2 younger than him, wearing a straw hat, leaning against a tree. Surprised, he asked, "Who are you? Why are you here?" "Hello, my name is Serena. My foot is injured and I can't walk," Serena said, pointing to the wound on her ankle, a look of sorrow on her face. So that's right. Let me help you," the young man said, unconcerned about Serena's consent, and began massaging her foot. Serena blushed. The young man gently massaged her, soothing her. "Oh, by the way, my name is Yu. Your injury is fine, just a dislocation. I've learned some medical skills, so I'll give you a massage now." Yes, this young man was none other than Yu, the man who had made up his mind in Viridian Forest but had gotten lost for days after leaving. He replied softly, as soft as a mosquito. Serena's face flushed even more as she looked at the young man's serious expression. A tadpole suddenly darted out from the nearby bushes. Serena screamed in fright, clinging tightly to Yu's arm. "Tadpole, where are you?" a voice rang out from behind the bushes. A little boy, about 8 or 9, emerged from the brush. "Hello. My name is Xiaozhi. What are you doing?" Xiaozhi greeted Yu and Serena with a smile, then asked with a hint of confusion. Hearing Xiaozhi's voice, Serena awkwardly released her grip on Yu's arm, her already red face now threatening to bleed. "Hello, Xiaozhi. My name is Yu," Yu introduced calmly, not stopping her movements. "Hello, you too. My name is Serena," Serena said, looking a little embarrassed. "All right. Serena, try standing up and walking around," Yu suddenly said. Oh, okay, I'll try." Serena paused for a moment before reacting and slowly standing up. "Oh, it's really all right." Ouch! Serena stood up and took a few joyful steps, but suddenly lost her balance and fell to the side, her cheerful face turning pale. Fortunately, Yu, who was standing by, quickly caught her. "Are you all right, Serena?" Xiaozhi asked, concerned. The scene had also frightened Xiaozhi. "She's fine. She just got her foot back and is a little out of sorts," Yu explained after checking it out. "By the way, are you guys also at summer camp? Why haven't I seen you before?" Xiaozhi asked curiously. "What summer camp? I didn't know the way, so I spent days looking for the way," Yu replied somewhat awkwardly. "Oh. So you're lost?" Xiaozhi said with sudden realization. "It's not that I'm lost, it's that I don't know the way," Yu argued stubbornly. "PFFT. I just arrived today and got separated from my companions." Serena was initially amused by Yu's stubbornness, then explained. "Is that so? Then I'll lead the way," Xiaozhi volunteered, patting his chest. Yeah, I think that's fine, then it's settled. I'll invite you to my house when the time comes. Just as you and the others were chatting animatedly, little did they know that behind their backs, a pair of red eyes were watching them. Chapter 6 Meeting Dr. Omu. Buzz, 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 what's that sound? Serena asked hurriedly, sensing something was amiss. This sound, could it be? Xiaozhi stammered. That's the sound of Beedrill, Yu exclaimed in shock. After all, he had lived in the forest since childhood and was already familiar with the Pokémon that inhabited it. Furthermore, while he was a warrior and wasn't afraid of Beedrill, that was only in a one-on-one fight. But Beedrills usually swarmed in groups, and two fists couldn't stand up to four. So Yu was a little nervous. He ignored Serena's approval and simply carried it on his back. Xiaozhi, standing nearby, was already stunned, oblivious to the Beedrill's approach. Xiaozhi, what are you staring at? Hurry and lead the way. The Beedrills behind us are formidable, Yu shouted, noticing Xiaozhi still dazed. Xiaozhi, having regained his composure, heard the approaching sound and sped ahead, leading the way. Area divider, I don't know where that Satoshi has gone. We had a plan to go exploring the forest together, but we haven't even seen him yet. Damn it, he stood me up, somewhere in the forest, a reddish brown-haired boy, about Satoshi's age, was complaining angrily. Xiaomao. Help, help. No, hurry. Run. There's a Beedrill, a voice suddenly came from the front, interrupting the boy's complaints. Faintly hearing someone calling his name, Xiaomao glanced and saw Xiaomao running towards him, shouting something incomprehensible as he ran. Behind him, a boy was carrying a young girl on his back. Seeing Xiaomao's somewhat disheveled appearance, Xiaomao felt a surge of joy. He couldn't help but laugh, gloating at him. Ha ha ha, Xiaomao, you're as disheveled as ever. Xiaomao's joy soon faded, and his gloating voice abruptly stopped. His cheerful mood vanished as he spotted a swarm of Beedrills pursuing Ash and the boy, heading his way. Soon, another person joined the Beedrills horde. Ash, you idiot. You actually led a swarm of Beedrills to me, you're screwing me, you're so nagging. I apologize, and I didn't mean to. Ouch, that hurts. Amidst the swarm, Xiaomao, angrily arguing with Ash as they ran, dragged him into this again. Buzz buzz buzz. Even as they bickered, they completely failed to notice the Beedrills closing in on them. Xiaomao, why are there Beedrills right next to you, you damn Ash? Two agonizing cries echoed through the woods. Yu, having noticed the Beedrill approaching, sped ahead with Serena on his back. Listening to their screams, he silently prayed. Serena, do you remember where your camp is? Without Satoshi to lead the way, Yu had no choice but to ask Serena on his back. I'm sorry, I don't remember. Serena, perched on Yu's back, whispered, perhaps embarrassed at her inability to help. It's okay, we have plenty of time, so we can take our time. And as long as we don't encounter grumpy Pokemon like Beedrill, we can enjoy the scenery along the way. Seeing Serena's dismay, Yu offered a humorous joke, offering comfort. Yu and Serena continued chatting along the way. Perhaps by some divine intervention, they arrived at a campsite, Professor Oak's summer camp. Yu had just arrived at the camp, carrying Serena on his back, when an elderly man in a white coat approached. Hello, Professor Oak, Serena greeted politely, feeling a bit nervous. Hello, little sister, your name is Serena, right? Where did you go before? You really worried me off. Don't run around like that next time, okay? Professor Oak seemed a little excited upon seeing Serena, asking her questions with concern. Then, looking at Yu with some confusion, he asked, little brother, why do you keep carrying Serena? Yu was stunned at first, but then, realizing what was going on, he awkwardly put Serena down and explained what had happened to Professor Oak. Oh, so that's how it is. No wonder I didn't see Ash and Shigeru all morning. They'd been sneaking off to the forest looking for Pokemon again, Professor Oak said, pounding his right fist against his left palm, a look of sudden realization on his face. Professor Oak, Grandpa, we're back. The voices of Ash and Shigeru could be heard from a distance. The two of them, carried by a Venusaur, were seen heading towards the camp. Professor Oak, sensing Serena might be lost in the forest and having not seen Ash and Mo all morning, had dispatched his Venusaur to search for them. While Ash and Mo were being besieged, Venusaur found them and immediately dispatched the Beedrills, dispatching them and returning them to camp. Oh, it's Ash, Mo, and Venus are back. Professor Oak breathed a sigh of relief upon seeing Ash and the others. Then, noticing their injuries, he quickly had Venusaur take them to the camp clinic. Grandpa, no need, these aren't as serious as you think. Yes, Professor Oak, there's no need to bother. These minor injuries are nothing to me. Seeing Professor Oak's intention to send them to the clinic, Mo and Ash, unnerved by the thought, began to prove their injuries were fine, even offering Venusaur's help. Ouch and it hurts were the only two screams heard. When the two people landed on the ground, perhaps because of their injuries, their legs softened and they both fell to the ground. Please, Bulbasaur, Professor Oak said with one hand on his forehead. Bulbasaur screamed, stretched out two vine whips, and took Satoshi and Kamachi away regardless of their struggles. Professor Oak, your last name is Oak, so I wonder if you know a professor named Yukinari Oak. Looking at Satoshi and the other person who were kidnapped, Yu suddenly asked. If you are talking about Dr. Yukinari Oak from Pallet Town, then I am that person. Haha. Dr. Oak was stunned by Yu's question, then he touched his nose and smiled embarrassedly. Are you really Dr. Yukinari Oak from Pallet Town? Yu couldn't help but be stunned when he heard this, and asked back in a daze. Seeing Yu's look of disbelief, Professor Oak nodded in amusement, then said with a boastful expression, yes, I am the renowned Oki Yukinari of the Kanto region. Ga. A murkrow flew over Yu's head. Perhaps realizing his humor had gone too far, Professor Oak coughed lightly to ease the awkwardness, then curiously asked, may I ask what this young man wants from me? Sorry, I forgot to introduce myself. My name is Yu. I have a letter that my master asked me to give you. Yu immediately handed the letter from his interspatial ring to Professor Oak. Curious, Professor Oak took the letter, first glancing at the envelope, then excitedly began to read it, his expression occasionally flickering with nostalgia as he read. Chapter 7 Separation. Yu, so you are Zhao Kuang's apprentice. Is Zhao Kuang doing well now? Dr. Oak asked Yu after reading the letter. Well, my master is doing very well. He enjoys eating and feels healthy, Yu replied and prepared to say goodbye and leave. Yu, wait a minute, where are you going? Selina asked hurriedly when she saw Yu was about to leave. I don't know, but I'm still gaining experience in Japan, so I plan to travel around. Yu thought for a while and said. Then can you wait until the summer camp is over before leaving? Selina said with a blush on her cheeks. But, Yu was about to say something in embarrassment. Professor Oak interrupted, Alright, no buts. Serena's right. You're new to Japan and unfamiliar with the place. You should stay at my research institute for a while. Seeing Yu about to refuse, Professor Oak handed him a piece of paper and said, This is from your master. Besides, your master and I have been friends for many years. If I don't treat you well, your master might blame me again. After reading the letter, Yu clasped his fists and bowed to Professor Oak. Thank you, Professor Oak, for your help. My master has asked me to stay with you for a while and learn more about Pokémon. Oh, I see. It's not a bother. You're so polite. I'd love for you to learn from me. Professor Oak laughed. Great, Yu. This way I can always come and play with you, Serena said happily. Yu nodded, also smiling happily. And so Yu stayed, and Professor Oak arranged for him to attend summer camp, claiming it was a great learning opportunity. Time divider, Onix. Charge, Nidorino, use Horn Slam to block. The two Pokémon on the battlefield collided, then were repelled by their respective forces, sending up a cloud of dust. Good opportunity, Onix, use Burrow. Onix cried out, burrowing into the ground. Nidorino, on the battlefield, panicked when its opponent vanished. But before it could recover, Onix, launching a surprise attack from underground, struck it. Already drained of energy from the previous collision, Nidorino collapsed after entering Burrow. Nidorino is incapacitated. Onix wins, and the winner is Yu of Team White, the referee declared. Indeed, the two Pokémon on the battlefield were Yu and Xiaomao. Meanwhile, Yu, Serena, and a girl named Xiaoguang, who had arrived later, had teamed up and engaged in a fierce competition with the other teams at the summer camp. As time passed, the camp drew to a close. The Pokémon battle, specifically prepared by Professor Oak for the children attending summer camp, was a chance for them to experience what it's like to be a trainer for the first time and gain practical experience. Yu. You're amazing, Serena exclaimed as the battle ended, her face flushed with joy. Yes. Yu, you actually beat Xiaomao? Xiaoguang followed suit, admiringly yet somewhat shyly. It's okay, not as amazing as you say, Yu said, a little embarrassed by the praise, waving his hands modestly. Yu, just wait, I'll definitely beat you next time. Xiaomao, walking over from the opposite direction, overheard Serena and the others praising Yu and immediately expressed his discontent. Xiaomao, you're so annoying. You actually lost to Yu, Xiaozhi suddenly spoke out of nowhere. Xiaomao's face darkened even further, and he angrily said, Xiaozhi, you're a defeated opponent, and you still dare to criticize me? Where's your face? Xiaozhi's temper suddenly fell silent, and his face flushed red as he defended himself. I didn't play well. Yes, it's because I didn't play well. That's why you won. What did you say? You want to argue? Xiaomao said even more angrily. Go ahead. I'm afraid of you, Xiaozhi said, unwilling to be outdone. You all stay here and calm down. Yu, who was a little annoyed by their bickering, pressed his fingers on acupuncture points on their bodies. Xiaozhi and Yu, who were still arguing, were horrified to find that they couldn't make a sound. Their movements, which had been about to start a fight, were frozen in place, unable to move. Xiaoguang and Serena stared at the scene in amazement. Amazing. Yu, do you know magic? Xiaoguang was the first to come to his senses and asked. Serena nodded her head vigorously, and her expression was adorable. Hey, this isn't magic. This is my traditional Chinese medical martial arts technique, acupressure. Seeing the stunned expressions of the two young beauties before him, Yu couldn't help but feel elated, saying with a touch of pride. That sounds amazing. Can Yu teach us? Xiaoguang asked curiously, gazing intently at Yu. Serena's eyes were also filled with anticipation. It was the first time Yu had been stared at by two beautiful women. Feeling a little uncomfortable, he took a few steps forward. Seeing this, Serena and the others also took a few steps forward. Okay, I'll definitely teach you when I have time, then it's a deal. No cheating. Yes, I won't lie. Yu and the others continued chatting as they left, completely oblivious to the frozen Xiaozhi and Xiaomao. Listening to the fading laughter of Yu and the others, Xiaozhi and Xiaomao felt as if 10,000 divine beasts of creation were galloping through their hearts, wanting to strangle Yu to death. It was evening, and Professor Oak celebrated the successful conclusion of summer camp with a bonfire party. The children gathered in groups, some discussing the day's Pokémon showdowns, some grieving over their impending departures, and some devouring the feast with a carefree heart. Not far away, on a hillside, Yu sat on the grass, clutching a Pokémon egg in his hands, lost in thought, his thoughts unsettled. Yu, so you were hiding here? You're so silly. You didn't even go to get your medals. Two female voices suddenly rang out from beside him, interrupting Yu's reverie. Turning to see Serena and Hikari, he asked, why are you here? Aren't you staying at the party? You weren't staying there either, Hikari playfully retorted. Wow. Yu, you're holding a Pokémon egg, Serena exclaimed, moving to sit next to Yu. This Pichu Pokémon egg was given to me by my master, Yu introduced it with pride, even though he was only 10 years old. Your master is so kind to you. This is my first time seeing a Pokémon egg. Can I hold it? Xiaoguang asked with some envy. Yu smiled and handed the Pokémon egg to the two girls, then asked, you're going back tomorrow, right? Yeah, Serena and the other girls, who had been smiling at the Pokémon egg, nodded silently. Seeing this, Yu could only comfort him, you don't have to be so. I'll play with you when I have time after you go back, then remember to come play with us, Xiaoguang said with a glint in his eyes. Oh, so you're all here. Professor Oak walked over and pulled a necklace engraved with a Pokeball from the pocket of his white coat. He handed it to Yu and said, here, Yu, this is your reward for winning the Pokemon battle. Wow, what a beautiful necklace, Xiaoguang said, his eyes shining as he looked at the necklace in Yu's hands. Yes, it's really beautiful, Serena nodded in agreement. Besides the Pokeball carved in the center of the necklace, the chain is also connected in a repeating pattern. After all, everyone has a love for beauty, especially little girls. Thank you, Professor Oak, Yu thanked him after accepting the necklace. He then saw Serena and Xiaoguang gazing at the necklace in his hands with fondness, lost in thought. Hey, Serena, you actually have a Pokémon egg, Professor Oak exclaimed in surprise at the Pokémon egg Serena held in her arms. This Pokémon egg isn't mine, it's Yu's, Serena explained, shaking her head. Oh, so it's Yu's. Professor Oak looked surprised at first, then pleaded, Yu, can you let me have this Pokemon egg so I can study it? Of course, I'll help you take care of it. Seeing Professor Oak's willingness, Yu readily agreed. After all, it was better to let Professor Oak, a professional, take care of them than to let him, someone who knew nothing, do it. By the way, have you seen Satoshi and Shigeki? Those two kids are really something. I don't know where they've gone crazy, and we haven't seen them yet, Professor Oak asked with a headache, noticing that there was no sign of Shigeki and Shigeki near Yu. Grandpa, Professor Oak. Just then, a hurricane-like dog approached Professor Oak, holding Shigeki and Satoshi in its mouth. Oh, hurricane-like dog, you found them. Thank you so much, Professor Oak praised, stroking the hurricane's fur. The hurricane-like dog also showed a look of enjoyment, even tossing Satoshi and Shigeki aside. It turned out that after being acupressured by Yu, their bodies were stiff from inactivity, and they collapsed to the ground after the acupressure expired. Then, seeing that they hadn't returned, Professor Oak sent the hurricane-like dog out to search for them, leading to the scene just now. At that moment, Xiaomao spotted the Pokemon egg that Xiaoguang had carried over. Despite his soreness, he propped himself up and pointed at the Pokemon egg held by Xiaoguang, exclaiming with envy and surprise, My God! Pokemon eggs! Grandpa, why does Xiaoguang have Pokemon eggs and I don't? Pokemon eggs? Where are they? Where are they? Let me see them too. Upon hearing Xiaomao's exclamation, Xiaozi, who had been crawling on the ground, suddenly revived and rushed over, shouting excitedly. Up, that Pokemon egg is mine, not Xiaoguang. But Xiaomao, don't worry. You can get your own Pokemon when you turn 16. Before Professor Oak could say anything, Yu, standing by, reassured him. Yu is right. When you turn 16, you can get your own Pokemon, not just a Pokemon egg. And you know how much effort it takes to raise a Pokemon from a young age, and your personality. Professor Oak shook his head helplessly, then teased Xiaomao. Professor Oak is right. Xiaomao is just mischievous, Xiaozi agreed. Ash, you're getting carried away. What are you getting yourself into here for? Xiaomao, already blushing from Professor Oak's comments, suddenly lunged at him with his teeth bared, claws bared, upon hearing Xiaozi's agreement. Help! Xiaomao hit someone. As the two figures chased each other, everyone's joyful laughter echoed through the night. The next morning, goodbye, Yu and everyone, goodbye, Yu, remember to come play with me. A girl in a princess dress and a girl in a light blue dress reluctantly waved goodbye to a middle-aged white-haired man and several children of similar age. The two girls were, of course, Xiaoguang and Serena, heading home after summer camp. Wait, a voice suddenly called out to them, because the content of Chapter 8 had been blocked and still hadn't been unblocked. Can you reposted it? The chapter 6 years after Chapter 104, Suicune, because the content of Chapter 8 was blocked and has not been unblocked yet. Can you posted it again, in the chapter 6 years after Chapter 104 Suicune? If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 8 6 years. These two bracelets are for you. I hope you like them. Xiaoguang and Serena looked back, somewhat puzzled, only to see Yu approach them, extending his hand and handing them two roughly crafted bracelets. Examining the bracelets carefully, Serena thought, this bracelet looks a lot like the necklace Yu won for a prize, only half of it. And then, turning her head to compare Xiaoguang's similar bracelet, Serena suddenly exclaimed, Yu, the bracelets you gave us are indeed the necklace you won for a prize. Ha, I've caught on. I see you really like this necklace. Since there was only one, I had to rush to make two bracelets overnight as a parting gift for you, Yu said, blushing a little. I love your gift, Yu. I treasure it. Yu had initially worried that Serena and Xiaoguang would dislike his gift, thinking it was too casual, but now that both women liked it, he felt relieved. Hey, as long as you like it. Okay, hurry up and get in the car. If you're late, you won't be able to get on the plane, Yu urged with a smile. Seeing Yu with a bright smile before them, Serena and Xiaoguang exchanged glances, then Kiki leaned forward and pecked Yu on both cheeks. At that moment, time seemed to stand still. Pidgeot, flapping its wings, soared through the sky. Rattata, searching for food in the grass. Professor Oak and the others, watching the scene, seemed frozen in time. Feeling the softness on her cheeks, Yu's mind went blank, her delicate face flushed. When she came to her senses, the two women had already blushed, and they ran back to the car, waving goodbye. Watching the car disappear at the end of the road, Yu's mind was filled with memories of his encounter with Serena and Xiaoguang. Xiaoguang and Serena, see you again in 6 years. Time divider, 6 years slipped by quietly. Pichu's gone. It's time to return to Pallet Town. Atop an unnamed mountain, a handsome young man in a white robe and a crown of hair sat cross-legged on a boulder, his eyes closed, his breathing in meditation. A pristine, brilliant white spear rested upright at his side. Sitting atop the misty mountain top, the young man exuded an air of ethereal beauty, the spear resting beside him adding a sharp edge to his presence. Pichu! Pichu! Suddenly, a petite yellow figure, undeterred by the young man's imposing presence, leaped a few times and perched on his shoulder, nuzzling his cheek affectionately. Ha ha ha! Pichu, stop! It's Suicune. Ha ha ha! The young man, previously closed his eyes and breathing in meditation, laughed out loud as Pichu's cheek rubbed against his. This young man was, of course, Yu. Over the past 6 years, Yu had spent 2 years studying Pokemon under Professor Oak. Then, Zhao Kuang sent a letter urging Yu to return to China to prepare for the Young Generation's martial arts tournament. Held every 5 years at one of the 5 mountains, the Fengyun Martial Arts Tournament is a grand occasion for Chinese martial arts. Only warriors of the 8th level or higher, aged 16, are eligible to participate. The Fengyun Martial Arts Tournament is divided into 3 levels: Warrior Arena, Grandmaster Arena, and Grandmaster Arena. Zhao Kuang wrote in a letter, hoping Yu would participate in the Grandmaster Arena. Unwilling to disappoint his master, Yu bid farewell to Professor Oak and his companions and returned to China, seeking an opportunity to break through to the Grandmaster realm. Over the past 4 years, Yu has achieved his dream of reaching the 2nd level of Grandmaster, earning the nickname the Ruthless Spear in the Chinese martial arts world. Pichu, it's been 6 years, and I still haven't been able to see my master. Perhaps sensing the sadness in Yu's words, the Pichu reached out its short hand and gently patted Yu's back. But fortunately, you hatched from a Pokemon egg a year ago. With your company, I'm no longer alone. He lifted the Pichu from his shoulder and nuzzled its cheek affectionately. From the misty mountain top, the joyful laughter of a man and his pet echoed for a long time. Pikachu's gone. It's been a while since I went back to see Professor Oak and the others. I wonder how they're doing now. After playing around for a while, Pichu returned to rest on Yu's shoulder. Yu also stood up, grabbed a spear from the side, and quickly rushed down the mountain. In a few breaths, he disappeared. Regional dividing line, Japan, Kanto region, Satoshi's home and Pallet Town. Professor Oak, is Yu really coming back today? Satoshi asked excitedly. Yes. Yu wrote in the letter that he would be coming back today, and Satoshi, this is the 8th time I've asked you this question today, Professor Oak replied helplessly. Okay, Satoshi, don't bother Professor Oak anymore. Come and help me decorate the house, Satoshi's mother, Hanako, lectured. I know. Mom, you're so silly. I was just too excited to hear that Yu was coming back. Xiaozhi wilted after being scolded by Hanako and muttered softly. With a bang, the door of Xiaozhi's house was pushed open, and Xiaomao rushed in hurriedly and asked curiously, Grandpa heard that Yu was going to have a surprise today. Is it true? Yes, Professor Oak replied weakly at first, and then said, Xiaomao, since you are here, please help decorate the house and give Yu an unexpected surprise. Okay, I will definitely prepare an unforgettable surprise for Yu. Xiaomao readily agreed, but there was a hint of a sly smile on the corner of his mouth. So the welcome party was prepared in full swing. In the evening, the night gradually fell, and a few stars appeared in the east. As the stars gradually increased, the earth quietly merged into the warm night, the breeze blew, and Pokemon and people danced and sang freely under the starry sky, giving people a peaceful and tranquil scene. Elsewhere, in a brightly lit house, 1 or 2 complaints could be heard from time to time, which seemed so out of place. Mom, when is dinner? I'm starving, Xiaozhi's voice was heard. It's almost time. We'll start eating when Yu arrives, Grandpa, Are you sure Yu is coming back today? That doesn't make sense. Yu should have been found. Professor Oak was also a little unsure, wondering if you had remembered it wrong. Ding dong, the ringing of the doorbell interrupted their conversation. I'll open it. I'll open it. Xiaozhi rushed to the entrance and opened the door excitedly. Standing at the door was a young boy with a Pikachu on his shoulder, greeting him with a smile. Xiaozhi was stunned at first, but then realized that the boy was Yu. He immediately stepped aside to let Yu in. Yu immediately greeted everyone after entering the room. Oh, Yu, the Pikachu on your shoulder was hatched from that Pokemon egg back then, right? Professor Oak's eyes lit up when he saw the Pikachu on Yu's shoulder. Yes, wow. What a cute Pikachu. Seeing Pichu, Xiaozhi didn't even eat his meal, and ran directly to Pichu, which had already gotten off Yu's shoulder, and greeted it. Xiaomao, who was sitting at the dining table, couldn't help but follow it, and even forgot about the surprise he wanted to give Yu. Seeing this scene, Yu smiled helplessly, and without paying any attention to Pichu who was playing with Xiaozhi and the others, he walked straight to the dining table and sat down. By the way, Yu, this is for you. After Yu sat down, Professor Oak suddenly said. Chapter 9 Evolution. Professor Oak took out a red object that looked like a computer from the pocket of his white coat and handed it to Yu. Yu took the computer-like object from Professor Oak's hand and looked at it curiously. This thing is called the pacts, Professor Oak explained when he saw the doubt in Yu's eyes. After hearing the explanation, Yu was even more confused. Before Yu could have any more questions, Professor Oak grabbed Yu's hand holding the pacts and pointed the pacts at Pichu, who was playing with Xiaozhi. The pacts made an electronic synthesized sound. Pichu, a little mouse Pokemon. It's the appearance of Pikachu before it evolved. It has a very small body, but it can emit electric shocks that are enough to paralyze adults. However, storing electricity is not their specialty. When they are surprised or laughing, they will immediately discharge electricity and scare themselves. Seeing Yu's bewildered look, Professor Oak proudly introduced, the pacts isn't a recorder, but a handheld database. Trainers can scan or manually search to obtain recorded information about Pokemon. Trainers can not only manually search for Pokemon information, but also scan the Pokemon in front of them with the pacts to retrieve information from the database or learn about the Pokemon's moves. Scanning Pokemon ensures that trainers don't mistakenly identify Pokemon due to manual search information. In addition, if the Pokemon you need to introduce doesn't appear in the local area, it will be displayed as no data. Besides these functions, the pacts also serves as a proof of a trainer's identity. Yu listened in amazement as Professor Oak rambled on about the benefits of the pacts. Yu, I know you came back this time to pursue your goal of becoming a Pokemon Master, and this pacts might be of some use to you, Professor Oak said seriously. Thank you, Professor Oak. Feeling the sincerity in Professor Oak's words, Yu was deeply moved, his eyes slightly reddened, his voice choking. Among other things, Yu could truly sense Professor Oak's kindness to him. Besides his master, he was the only person who truly cared for him. Haha, why are you being so polite to me, kid? Your master and I have been friends for many years, Professor Oak scolded with a smile. Yu scratched his head sheepishly. By the way, Yu, what are your plans for coming back this time? Are you still going to stay with me and study and research Pokemon? Professor Oak asked curiously. No, Professor Oak, I'm mainly coming back to see you, and then to begin my Pokemon journey in Japan. I see, Professor Oak nodded, then asked, so, when are you planning to leave? Tomorrow. My Pokemon journey begins tomorrow. Yu's words were filled with anticipation. Since Yu has decided to go on a trip tomorrow, Auntie will help you pack your luggage now. Hanako, who was sitting nearby, stood up and spoke upon hearing that Yu was leaving. Thank you, Auntie Hanako. Yu didn't refuse. Although his space ring already contained his luggage from his previous travels, he knew it was a token of Auntie Hanako's care and concern for him. Professor Oak, what were you talking about with Yu? Ash, after playing with Pikachu for a while, finally felt his stomach growl and ran back to the restaurant. Seeing Professor Oak talking to Yu, he asked, Yu is planning to go on a trip tomorrow. Wow, Yu is so lucky to be able to travel. Ash said with envy. Haha, you don't have to be envious, Ash. You can get your own Pokemon and travel next year too, Professor Oak reassured. By the way, the Kanto region starter Pokemon are Charmander, Bulbasaur, and Squirtle. Ash, have you decided which one you're going to choose? Yu asked curiously. Well, I think Bulbasaur is good, but Squirtle and Charmander are also great. Which one should I choose? It's so hard to choose. I want all three. Xiaozhi pulled his hair, looking frantic. Haha, you're really the last one. If I had always chosen Squirtle, I wouldn't have had to go through so much trouble like you. Xiaomao, who was following behind, taunted him. Xiaomao, what are you talking about? Who are you talking about? I'm talking about you. No, you're the last one. Haha. Professor Oak and Yu laughed heartily at the quarrel between the two. The laughter emanated from the house, adding a touch of pastel color to the small town in the dark night. It was 11 or 12 o'clock in the evening. After the party, Yu, who had returned to Professor Oak's laboratory with Professor Oak for a temporary stay, went to the backyard of Professor Oak's laboratory and sat on a grassy slope with his head resting on the back of his head, gazing at the starry sky. The thought of going on a trip tomorrow and seeing the colorful world of Pokémon filled her heart with excitement. Although he had traveled alone in the 4 years prior, searching for opportunities to help him break through, he hadn't had time to truly explore the Pokémon world he had longed to explore. So, his excitement was palpable. Haha, Pichu, we can go on a journey tomorrow. Along the way, we'll meet different Pokémon, encounter different people, and encounter different things. Just thinking about it is exciting. Looking up at the starry sky, Yu excitedly said to the Pichu crawling beside him. Perhaps a thought struck him, as Yu stood up and excitedly shouted to the sky, the colorful Pokémon world and Pokémon await. Yu, I'm here, Pichu. The Pichu beside him, perhaps sensing his master's excitement, also shouted excitedly. Suddenly, a glow emanated from the Pichu, startling Yu. Just as he was about to step forward to investigate, Professor Oak, who had arrived out of nowhere, stopped him. Don't be nervous, Pichu. This is a sign of evolution. Evolution, Yu muttered to himself, his eyes filled with nervous anticipation as he watched the Pichu glow before him. After the white light, a Pokémon twice the size of Pichu appeared before Yu's eyes. He took out the Pokémon Pokédex and scanned it. Pikachu, a mouse Pokémon. It has small electric bags on both sides of its cheeks. When it encounters danger, it will discharge electricity. It will raise its tail to feel whether the surroundings are safe. Great. Pichu, no, it's Pikachu. You evolved. After reading the introduction in the Pokédex, Yu picked up Pikachu and said excitedly. Congratulations, Yu. Pichu evolved into Pikachu. Professor Oak was also happy for Yu. By the way, Professor Oak, why are you here? Yu asked curiously after the excitement subsided. Oh, I just came back and have been studying the sleep of grass-type Pokémon in this area until now. I was just about to go to bed when I saw you here to check on me, Professor Oak explained with a smile. Is that so? Then Professor Oak, let's go back to the house together, okay? Let's go back to the house together. I remember there is some information I need to read. Chapter 10 Carlos, here I come. The next morning, a ray of sunlight shone into the Oak Research Institute through the window. Xiaomao came to the lobby of the Oak Research Institute with a sleepy look and yawned. Good morning, Grandpa. Xiaomao greeted him. Good morning, Xiaomao, you slept so late again, Professor Oak said helplessly. In the lobby of the Oak Research Institute, Professor Oak was doing research as usual, but there was no sign of Yu. Hearing Professor Oak saying that he got up late again, Xiaomao retorted, I haven't seen Yu from just now until now, and his travel bag is still on the sofa next to him, which means he hasn't gone on a trip yet, and is still sleeping in the house, right? Hearing Xiaomao's retort, Professor Oak smiled and shook his head and said, that's not right. Yu is not like you. He gets up early in the morning. Hey, that breakfast on the table is Yu. He is just taking Pikachu to the back mountain for special training. Wow, Grandpa Pikachu evolved? Xiaomao asked in surprise. Yes. What a pity. It evolved after you went back to your room to sleep. The door to the backyard was opened. Yu, who had just finished special training, walked in with Pikachu. He heard Xiaomao's surprised voice and made a joke without waiting for Professor Oak to reply. I actually missed Pikachu's evolution. Hearing Yu's joke, Xiaomao grabbed his hair a little frantically. His hair, which had not been tidied because he had just woken up, was now messed up by Xiaomao like a bird's nest. Well, Professor Oak, Yu suddenly became a little embarrassed. Professor Oak was very surprised and asked, What's wrong, Yu? Is there something wrong? Professor Oak, do you want any Pokeballs? If so, can you give me 2 or 3? Yu asked with a blush on his face. There was no other way. Yu hadn't wanted to ask Professor Oak, but because a Pokeball cost 500 Alliance coins, and he had previously spent 500 Alliance coins on a Pokeball to recapture Pikachu, Yu felt bad for a long time. Add to that the expenses over the years, and he had very few Alliance coins left, so Yu blushed and asked, "Hey, Yu, you're a Pokemon trainer? Can't you even afford a Pokeball?" Xiaomao asked, looking at Yu with a strange expression. Xiaomao's question made Yu's face redder, as if it was about to bleed. Seeing Yu's embarrassment, Professor Oak coughed lightly and jokingly said, "Yu, you forgot where you are. How can there be no Pokeballs in the Pokemon Research Institute?" Then he walked to a cabinet and took out 5 Pokeballs and one each of a weight ball and a heat-resistant ball, handing them to Yu, explaining the functions of the weight ball and the heat-resistant ball. Xiaomao, who was standing by, saw that his grandfather had given Yu 2 rare Pokeballs. He was so envious that he immediately asked Professor Oak for some. "Grandpa, do you have other Pokeballs that you don't need? If you do, I don't want more." "A dozen will do." Professor Oak hit Xiaomao on the head and said unhappily, "You don't have any Pokeballs, but you have your life. Let's go." "I haven't had Yu's cooking for 4 years. Now that I think about it, I really miss it. Today I have a treat. I must eat a few more bowls of rice." Then he ignored Xiaomao, who was still standing by and laughing, and walked towards the restaurant while seeming to be talking to himself or to Xiaomao. "Ah, Grandpa, you are so cunning. Wait, let me go wash up first." Xiaomao became anxious when he heard what Professor Oak said, and rushed into the bathroom to wash up. Xiaomao, who had just woken up, had been planning to go downstairs to wash up, but Yu had forgotten. Professor Oak's threat to eat Yu's breakfast alone had him rushing off to wash up. After washing up, Xiaomao rushed over to join the group of people eating and devoured the food. Both Professor Oak and Xiaomao were drooling over their breakfast. Afterward, Professor Oak rubbed his plump belly and said with a satisfied look, I'm full. Yu, your cooking is still as good as ever. Oh, by the way, Yu, which area are you planning to travel to next?" Professor Oak's thoughts had jumped so quickly that Yu was taken aback by the question. He had just been praising my cooking skills, and now he was asking about my travels. "I don't know, I'm planning to take a walk," Yu said, scratching his head sheepishly. "Oh, so, Yu, how about I recommend some areas for you?" Yu's response startled Professor Oak, who then suggested. Yu nodded, hoping Professor Oak would introduce him to region. Seeing Yu's nod of agreement, Professor Oak said without hesitation, "Let's go to the Kalos region. There's a good friend of mine in the Kalos region, Professor Blatano, who's just as famous. I heard he's been researching Mega Evolutions lately. You should go check it out. Plus, you might even see Pokemon not found in the Kanto region in Kalos." "Okay, Professor Oak, I'll go to the Kalos region as you say. I want to see what you mean by Mega Evolutions," Yu excitedly agreed, captivated by Professor Oak's description of Kalos. "Well, then, here's your ticket to the Kalos region." Professor Oak took a crumpled ticket from the dining table and handed it to Yu, scratching his head awkwardly. "It's a bit torn. Can I get you a new one?" "No problem. Thank you so much, Professor Oak." Yu looked at the crumpled ticket in his hand. Time divider. At this moment, at Takawa City Airport, a plane from the Kanto region to the Kalos region was preparing to take off. Yu sat in the cabin, Pikachu cradled on his lap. "Pikachu, our journey is about to begin." Yu's tone was filled with excitement, and the ruffled fur on Pikachu's back gave him a sense of his emotions. After all, he had finally embarked on the path to becoming a Pokémon Master. Suddenly, the plane shook, and took off. As it took off, Yu's heart grew increasingly excited, shouting, "Kalos, I'm here. The Pokémon of the Kalos region are waiting for me." Yu is here. Meanwhile, as Yu's plane was approaching Kalos, Satoshi, who had just woken up in Pallet Town, rushed out of his house without even changing into his pajamas, and headed for Oak Laboratory. With a loud bang, the door to Oak Laboratory was flung open by Satoshi. The noise startled Professor Oak and Xiaomao, who were chatting, and they turned to look at Satoshi, who was standing in the entrance, gasping for air. Hoo, Professor Oak, where's Yu?" Xiaozhi asked, panting. "Oh, it's Xiaozhi. You left a long time ago and is probably on a plane to the Kalos region by now. What do you want with you? Professor Oak asked kindly. Oh. It's Xiaozhi. You're still as irritable as ever. Running out in your pajamas, Xiaomao said sarcastically. Oh. So you is gone. Xiaozhi ignored Xiaomao's sarcasm for once, feeling disappointed. He had agreed with Yu yesterday that he would come and see him off today, but he woke up too late and missed his appointment. Okay. Don't look so sad. Yu doesn't blame you. Come have some breakfast. It's made by Yu, Professor Oak said with some reluctance, noticing Xiaozhi's look of disappointment. Where is the meal made by Yu? I want to eat it. Xiaozhi, who had just looked disappointed, was immediately disappointed when he heard that Yu had made breakfast. He asked excitedly. Professor Oak, Xiaomao. Chapter 11, My Son. In Mire City, Kalos region, Japan, a girl of 16 or 17 arrived at Dr. Blatano's laboratory with a faint smile and rang the doorbell. She had long pink hair, casually draped over her shoulders, with side-swept bangs that barely brushed her eyelids. Her long lashes fluttered, her watery eyes seemed to speak. Her nose was small, the perfect height, her face pink, and her lips moist, almost bitten. She wore an old SFST white dress, plain and simple, yet it made her look anything but ordinary. The door to Dr. Blatano's laboratory opened, and a woman with blue hair and red-framed glasses, radiating an intellectual beauty, opened it. Hello. My name is Ayer. Is Dr. Blatano here? The girl, waiting outside, introduced herself as the door was opened by a woman. Hello. My name is Sophie, and I'm one of Dr. Blatano's assistants. What can I do for you, Dr. Blatano? Sophie asked, looking at the girl named Ayer. Well, I'm a rookie trainer, and I'm here today to receive a starter Pokémon from Dr. Blatano, Ayer replied. I see. Then please come in. Dr. Blatano is on the phone with a friend right now, so please wait a moment, Sophie said. It's okay. Ayer followed Sophie into the hall of the Research Institute. Inside, a tall, middle-aged man with a stubbled chin was chatting and laughing with an older man with graying hair, also wearing a white coat, on a video call. Long time no see, Dr. Oak. You're still as charming as ever, the middle-aged man said with a smile. Haha. Dr. Blatano, stop praising me. I heard you're researching how to Mega Evolve. How's your research going? Any progress? Dr. Oak in the video asked with a smile. Indeed, the two currently on a video call were none other than Professor Oak, far away in Kanto, and Dr. Blatano, the master of this research institute. Oh, forget it. For a Pokémon to Mega Evolve in its final form, it needs the corresponding Mega Evolution Stone and Evolution Key, but I haven't found either, Dr. Blatano said, looking somewhat dejected. Oh, I see. Don't worry, you'll find a way with some time. Oh, by the way, I almost forgot about something while we were chatting. Dr. Blatano, I have a favor to ask. A student of my good friend is traveling to the Kalos region, and I'd appreciate it if you could take care of him. He should be arriving soon by now, Dr. Oak said, suddenly remembering something. Sure, what's his name? Dr. Blatano readily agreed. Yu? Okay, I got it, then I'll leave everything to you. I have something else to do first. Bye, don't worry. Bye. Whoosh, the screen went black, and Dr. Blatano, having put down the receiver, turned around to see Sophie and Ayer sitting on the sofa nearby, chatting. Who is this? Dr. Blatano asked Sophie, looking at Ayer. Hello, Dr. Blatano, my name is Ayer, and I'm this year's rookie trainer. Seeing Dr. Blatano's gaze on her, Ayer immediately stood up from the sofa and politely introduced herself before Sophie could say anything. Oh, right. Look at my memory, you're the rookie trainer who's coming here today to claim the starter Pokémon? Dr. Blatano's face suddenly lit up with realization. Then he reached into his pocket, pulled out 3 Pokéballs, tossed them into the air, and with 3 bangs, 3 Pokémon appeared before Ayer's eyes. I've prepared the 3 starter Pokémon for you. This blue one is the water-type Frog, the red one is the fire-type Vilinia, and the green one is the grass-type Halcyon. Choose one to accompany you on your journey. Dr. Blatano then proceeded to introduce the 3 Pokémon. Let me see. Frog looks impressive, but Vilinia looks pretty good too. Halcyon. To convince Ayer to choose, all 3 Pokémon were incredibly powerful. Ayer frowned slightly, appearing troubled. I've decided, After a long moment of hesitation, Air finally made up her mind, her eyes determined. "Excuse me, is this Dr. Blatano's laboratory?" Just as Air was about to reveal her chosen Pokémon, a voice suddenly interrupted her. Bewildered, Air turned toward the entrance. Standing there was a young man with sharp eyebrows and bright eyes, dressed in a white tracksuit, white canvas shoes, and a crown of hair. A cute Pikachu sat on his shoulder. His attire, far from seeming out of place, gave him an air of innocence. "Come in, I'm Blatano. You're the EU that Professor Oak mentioned. I didn't expect you to arrive so soon. I was planning to pick you up." Seeing EU standing at the entrance, Professor Blatano warmly welcomed him in. "Hello, Professor Blatano," EU greeted politely. He then entered the institute and saw 3 new Pokémon. He immediately pulled out his Pokédex and began scanning them. There was no data, as many Pokémon remained undiscovered. Then, a mechanical voice echoed through the Pokédex. "Ah, how come there is no data for these 3 Pokémon? Could it be that the Pokédex is broken?" After saying this, he patted the Pokédex with his hand, and then scanned the 3 Pokémon he hadn't seen again. Unfortunately, the Pokédex still gave a prompt sound that there was no data. Puff, giggle Air, who was watching this scene, couldn't help but let out a silver bell-like laughter. Yu scratched his head in embarrassment. Even Pikachu, who was sitting on Yu's shoulder, couldn't stand it anymore and turned his little head to the side silently. "It's probably not that the Pokédex is broken, but that your Pokédex hasn't been upgraded to the global version. At present, there should only be Pokémon data from the Kanto region." At this time, Dr. Blatano explained, and then introduced the 3 Pokémon from the Kalos region to Yu one by one, easing Yu's embarrassment. "By the way, this little girl is called Air, and she is also a rookie trainer, and the beautiful lady with glasses is one of my 2 assistants, named Sophie. As for the other assistant, her name is Aya Adaugia, and she is taking care of Pokémon in the backyard." "Okay, you and Air can chat here. As both of you are rookie trainers, you should have a lot to talk about. Sophie, accompany me to the laboratory to upgrade Yu's Pokémon Pokédex," Dr. Blatano said immediately, and before Yu could react, he hurried away with Sophie. Only Yu, Air and 3 Pokémon were left in the hall. Pichu, Air couldn't help laughing at Yu, who was sitting next to her and feeling a little uneasy. Chapter 12 Recovering the Little Arrow. "Yu, am I that scary?" No. I'm just thinking." Yu, who rarely interacted with girls, was a little unaccustomed to being alone with them because he didn't know what to talk about. Especially with a girl he just met, he had to find an excuse to prevaricate. "Oh, really? So what were you thinking about?" Air asked curiously. Yu was suddenly at a loss for words. The atmosphere in the hall suddenly became awkward. "Well, Air, I heard from Professor Blatano that you're also a new trainer. I wonder what your starting Pokémon is." Finally, unable to bear the atmosphere, Yu asked, changing the subject. Air, who was watching Pikachu and 4 other Pokémon playing together not far away, puffed out her cheeks and snorted, "HMPH, I don't have a Pokémon yet. I could have gotten one just now, but you interrupted me. You're so annoying. I'm ignoring you." Then, she turned her head away and ignored Yu. Feeling awkward, Yu apologized profusely. "Since you're so sincere, I'll forgive you. But you owe me a meal." Air turned her head back and stuck out her tongue at Yu, looking instantly adorable. "No problem," Yu readily agreed. "I can see that Yu and Pikachu have a good relationship. Is that Pikachu your starter Pokémon?" Air asked, looking at Yu with her beautiful big eyes. "Yes. Pikachu was hatched from a Pokémon egg given by my master. We've known each other for a year, ever since it was born." Yu smiled at the playful Pikachu. The playful Pikachu seemed to sense something, turned its head and looked at Yu, also smiling. "I envy your relationship," Air said with some envy after witnessing this scene. "Don't be envious. Sooner or later, others will envy your relationship with your Pokémon. The professors are so slow. I haven't even gotten my initial Pokémon yet. By the way, Yu, aren't you from the Kanto region? Why are you back in the Kalos region?" Dr. Blatano said, somewhat bored, after chatting with Yu for a long time. "No, that's not right. I'm from the Kanto region, but I'm not a Kanto native, let alone a Japanese. I'm a proud Chinese," Yu said proudly. He then said, "As for why I came to the Kalos region, it's, of course, to defeat the Pokémon League here and become the champion." Seeing Yu's boastful words, Air couldn't help but ask curiously, "So, Yu, how many gym badges do you have?" Yu coughed awkwardly at Air's question and replied weakly, "None, haha, you're killing me. You only need to collect 8 gym badges to qualify for the league tournament, and you say you don't have any." Air burst out laughing at Yu's answer, but finally stopped laughing for fear of Yu's displeasure. Then, Air suddenly thought of something and asked, "So, your Pokemon isn't just one Pikachu, is it, yet?" "What's wrong?" Yu nodded, curiously asking. "Okay. There's a Mire Gym in Mire City. I was originally thinking about asking you to challenge it, but now I've forgotten. Challenging the Mire Gym requires at least 4 gym badges, and you only have one Pokemon, Pikachu. Not a single badge," Air explained. "So, Air, what's your dream?" Yu nodded after listening carefully, then suddenly asked. "My dream is to become a performer, bearing the title of Kalos Queen." Afraid Yu didn't know what a performer was, Air explained. Performers and their Pokemon showcase their bond through performances and moves, often performing together. They also dress up their Pokemon and create their own Pokemon. Pokemon performers also compete in novice beginner tournaments to collect princess keys. After collecting all 3, they can compete in the Master Advance tournament. The winner of the Master Advance tournament receives the title of Kalos Queen. Chirp, Yu, chatting with Air, suddenly heard a bird chirp. Looking through the window, he saw a small falcon flying into a tree in the yard, chirping non-stop. "Haha, I've decided you're my first flying-type Pokemon. Pikachu, let's go," Yu excitedly called out to Pikachu as he ran towards the gate. "Hey, Yu, wait for me." Air, standing nearby, could barely react when Yu disappeared. She stamped her feet and hurried after him. "Pikachu, use shock." Air saw Pikachu unleash a shockwave at Fletcher. Fletcher nimbly dodged it and used Lightning Flash to charge at Pikachu. "Great. Pikachu, let's use Lightning Flash too." The 2 Pokemon, each emitting a trail of white light, charged at each other. Just as the 2 Pokemon were about to collide, Fletcher suddenly spun back, knocking Pikachu, who had no time to react, out of the way. "I didn't expect that the little Fletch would actually turn around and attack, such an advanced skill. I really want to capture this little Fletch more and more." Seeing this scene, Yu thought to himself, and then looked at Pikachu, who stood up again after being knocked away, and said with concern, "Pikachu, you are okay? Use Thunder, Pikachu." Pikachu shouted and used Thunder, but the little Fletch was also good and used Shadow Clone. The lightning only hit one of the little Fletch's clones. Yu was crazy when he saw it. Could this little Fletch have become a spirit? "Pikachu, don't stop using Thunder continuously." Lightning struck one after another, and the number of clones around the little Fletch gradually decreased. In the end, only the real body was left. Before the real body could react, it was hit by thunder and fell from the air. Seeing this, Yu didn't rush to throw the Pokeball. Instead, he ordered, "Pikachu, wait until Fletcher reaches your attack height, then use Lightning Flash." Fletcher's wings suddenly moved as it fell from the air. Just as it was about to move, Pikachu used Lightning Flash, causing its eyes to scintillate. "Well done, go Pokeball." Seeing this, Yu excitedly took out a Pokeball and threw it at Fletcher. Yu was a master-level warrior. Although he wasn't proficient in hidden weapons, throwing a Pokeball was certainly no problem. The Pokeball struck Fletcher, and a flash of red light enveloped it, enveloping it within the Pokeball. The Pokeball then fell to the ground, gently shaking 3 times before a thud was heard. The Pokeball stopped moving, and the red light on the button on it dimmed. As it landed with a thud, Yu felt a sense of relief, knowing he had succeeded. "Pikachu, thank you, Pikachu." Yu was very excited after receiving the Pokeball from Pikachu. This was the first Pokemon he had captured by himself. "Haha, I captured the Falcon," Yu said, unable to contain his excitement. Pikachu beside him was also happy for his master. "Congratulations, Yu." Air, who had witnessed the whole process, came over and congratulated him with a smile. Yu smiled a little embarrassedly. "Hey, what are you talking about? You look so happy." Chapter 13, Understanding Super Evolution. Dr. Blatano's voice suddenly boomed from behind, startling the unsuspecting Yu and Air. "You startled us. It's you, Doctor. And you're so slow. We've been waiting forever," Yu complained, turning around to see it was Dr. Blatano. Sorry. What were you guys talking about?" You were so engrossed you didn't even notice I was behind you, Dr. Blatano asked curiously. You just captured a Fletch, Air replied. That's impressive, you. Capturing a Pokemon on your first day of travel. I've upgraded your Pokédex to the global version, so you can try it out now, Dr. Blatano praised Yu before handing it back. Yu took the Pokédex and tossed a Pokéball he was holding into the air. Chirp, a flash of red light flashed, and the Fletch chirped happily as it perched on Yu's shoulder. Fletcher, the Robin Pokemon. Its bird song is beautiful, and it will mercilessly attack any enemy that enters its territory, a mechanical voice echoed as the Pokédex scanned it. Professor Blatano, I haven't received my starting Pokemon yet. Seeing this, Air interjected. I'm so sorry to see me so busy. So, Air, which one are you going to choose? But until you do, keep this Pokédex and 5 Pokéballs. After accepting the Pokéballs and Pokédex from Professor Blatano, Air said seriously, I've got it. My first companion, Firefox. Seeing Air choose it, Firefox's pretty little nose sparkled with excitement, and it leaped into Air's arms, acting coquettishly. Giggle. That tickles. Alright, stop, Firefox. Air, who was laughing so hard at Firefox, calmed down and put it down. Then she looked at Froggy and Harley, who looked a little sad because they weren't chosen. He knelt down, patted the 2 Pokemon's heads, and soothed them with a smile. Don't be sad, you two. I love you both, too. It's just that Firefox is more suited to me. You'll definitely find a trainer who treats you well. The 2 Pokemon's moods brightened after hearing Air's words of comfort, and they immediately resumed playing with Firefox and Pikachu. As for Fletcher, Dr. Blatano took her for treatment. For a moment, the courtyard of the Blatano Research Institute was filled with laughter. Outside the gates, a luxury car slowly approached. It stopped, and a middle-aged woman with ring hair, black-framed sunglasses, and a dignified demeanor emerged. Air, you're too slow. You haven't even finished your training today. Come back with me now, the middle-aged woman said sternly. I understand, teacher. Air didn't explain anything. She simply ran over to the middle-aged woman, intimately linking her arm, and playfully stuck out her tongue. Then he turned around, picked up the Firefox that was following behind him, and waved to Yu. Yu, my teacher is here to pick me up. Goodbye. I wish you success in achieving your dream of becoming a Pokemon Master. I wish you success too. Yu smiled and waved back. Hey, isn't that Miss Yashio? Long time no see. Dr. Blatano, who had returned with a recovered Fletch, smiled and greeted Yashio. Long time no see, Dr. Blatano. You haven't changed at all. Seeing Dr. Blatano's serious face, Yashio couldn't help but relax. Why are you here? Why don't you come into my lab and sit down? Thank you for your kindness, Dr. Blatano. I have things to do, so I'll excuse myself. I'll visit you another day. With that, Yashio and her son got into the limousine. Who is Dr. Blatano's Miss Yashio? She seems very impressive, Yu asked curiously, touching his nose as he watched the limousine slowly drive away. Of course she's amazing. Miss Yashio was once the Queen of Kalos. How amazing. Yu was also surprised. After listening to Air's introduction to Pokemon performers, he could imagine how difficult it was to achieve the title of Queen of Kalos. Now you know how amazing it is. Let's go inside and talk. Just as Yu and Dr. Blatano were discussing the Queen of Kalos, Yashio, in the limousine that Yashio was riding in, Air, holding Firefox, looked across at Yashio, who had a slightly serious expression on her face, and said, Teacher, I want to go on a trip. Oh, why do you suddenly want to go on a trip? Yashio looked at her beloved disciple with some curiosity. Because I want to see more people and things, meet and part with more Pokemon. After hearing Air's words, Yashio was stunned for a moment, then a rare gentle smile flashed across her face. She stroked the head of the Firefox Air was holding and said, that should be what the boy named Yu told you just now. Silly girl, then go. I also want to see how far you can go. Thank you, teacher. Seeing that her teacher had exposed her for copying Yu's words, Air's pretty face flushed. Seeing her teacher agree, she said happily, dividing line, Yu, I heard from Professor Oak that you want to join the Pokemon League. There's a Mire gym in Mire City that you can challenge, said Professor Blatano, brewing tea while returning to the Research Institute. No, I plan to go to Baton City and challenge the Baton Gym first, After Air's introduction, Yu decided to take it slow, starting with the weaker ones and steadily building up. I heard from Professor Oak that your main research right now is on Pokémon evolution, Yu asked curiously. Exactly, Doctor. What kind of evolutionary research are you talking about? If someone said there was another stage of Pokémon evolution, would you believe it? Dr. Bertano asked instead. Another evolution? Yu was even more puzzled, and then asked, does that mean Pidgeot and Steelix will evolve again? Yes, that's very likely. Even Yu couldn't help but exclaim in surprise at the news. Several Pokémon have shown this phenomenon. Among researchers, we call it super evolution, Dr. Bertano explained as he walked over to the computer and pulled up the data, ready to share with Yu. Seeing Yu standing there, hesitant to move, Dr. Bertano immediately understood what he was thinking and jokingly said, I heard from Professor Oak that you studied Pokémon knowledge with him for 2 years. You can't possibly not understand this. Seeing Yu coming over to review the information, Dr. Bertano continued, but there are still many unsolved mysteries regarding the causes of Mega Evolution. The special stones required for evolution, and the bond between Pokémon and trainer, are also believed to be important factors. After a pause, Dr. Bertano continued, also, surprisingly, even if a Pokémon evolves, it will return to its original state. Return to its original state. Yu, who was still studying the information and listening to Dr. Bertano's explanation, was even more astonished. By the way, Dr. Bertano, do you know of anything that can help Pokémon hatch, or something that can heal water Pokémon? Yu suddenly remembered the unhatched Suicune in his stored ring. I don't know about that. I'm so sorry, Yu, I couldn't help you, Dr. Bertano said apologetically after a moment of contemplation. It's okay. Dr. Bertano, I won't disturb you anymore. I'll go and rest first. Seeing that Dr. Bertano didn't know either, Yu seemed a little disappointed and took Pikachu to the room prepared for him by Dr. Bertano to rest. Chapter 14 First Encounter with Yulong's. The next morning, Yu rose early. After breakfast, he bid farewell to Professor Bertano and, along with his pet, set out for White Sand City. Standing at the gate, Dr. Bertano watched the two men and their pet walk away. He couldn't help but think of Professor Oak's comment, if nothing unexpected happens, this boy will surpass me in future achievements. He wondered how far he would go. Shaking his head with a smile, Dr. Bertano returned to the Research Institute and began another day of work. On Route 4, which runs from Mire City to White Sand City, Yu looked at the boy, his own age, and said with a hint of resignation, you've followed me all the way here. What do you want? Hello. My name is Yulong's. Please join me in a Pokémon battle. I'm going this way, too. Oh, my name is Yu. Yu felt a little embarrassed, but still accepted Yulong's challenge. Tell me, how do you want to compete? Well, I'm in a hurry, so let's have a one-on-one Pokémon duel. No problem. Yu followed Yulong's to a wider area. After standing opposite each other, they each called out their Pokémon. Come out, Dragonite, it's Dragonite. Pikachu, go ahead. Yu sent out Pikachu, perched on his shoulder. Pikachu, using Yu's shoulder, leaped nimbly into the arena. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, Dragonite, Dragon Wave, boom, the two skills collided, sending up a cloud of dust. Dragonite, use Mind's Eye, then Mind Hammer. Pikachu, get out of the way, Yu ordered, but he forgot one thing, the attack after Mind's Eye was guaranteed to hit. Bang, with a loud bang, Pikachu flew out. Pikachu, are you okay? Yu saw Pikachu take off and immediately ran over with concern. Pikachu shook his head and continued running towards the field. Pikachu, move at high speed to disrupt Dragonite, then use Thunder. Hearing the command, Pikachu immediately used high-speed movement to disrupt Dragonite. Dragonite's eyes began to spin as Pikachu circled around it. Damn it! Dragonite, ignore Pikachu. Use Mind Eye again. Seeing this, Nobuno Yu, sensing something was amiss, quickly gave the order. Pikachu on the field, taking advantage of the moment Dragonite used Mind Eye, used Thunder to knock Dragonite away. Dragonite, how are you? Can you still fight? Nobuno Yu called out with concern as Dragonite staggered to its feet after being knocked back. Baby, Dragonite steadied itself before yelling, signaling it could still fight. Very good, Dragonite, use Slam. Let's decide the outcome in one move. You know why you roared, his words filled with passion. I couldn't ask for more, Pikachu said, his voice filled with passion, his lips curled up ever so slightly. Just as the two Pokemon were about to collide, you suddenly ordered, Pikachu, use dig. In an instant, Pikachu abruptly stopped and quickly dug a hole to burrow into. The inertia of the collision, which had lost its target, forced Dragonite to charge forward. Even after stopping, it hadn't reacted before Pikachu, attacking from underground, neutralized it. Pikachu, we won. Seeing Pikachu standing breathless on the field, Yu walked over, scooped her up in his arms, and said excitedly, stroking her hair. After all, Yulongzhenai was the trainer he had been waiting to defeat since he started traveling. You screwed me. We agreed to a single move to decide the outcome, and you changed your mind, after retrieving the Dragonite. Yulongzhenai approached Yu and angrily said, Hey, we Chinese have an old saying, all is fair in war. Besides, this is a Pokemon battle, so of course we have to take it seriously and do everything we can to defeat the other team, Yu replied seriously, gritting his teeth again as he looked at the enraged Yulongzhenai. Hey, give this blue tangerine fruit to your dragon. It'll quickly restore your strength. Yu pulled 2 blue tangerine fruits from his storage ring, giving one to Yulongzhenai and the other to Pikachu in his arms. Thank you. But you're quite impressive, actually beating me, Yulongzhenai exclaimed after receiving the blue tangerine fruit. You're not bad either. I almost lost to you, ha 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 ha, the two laughed in unison. Yu, where are you going next? Me? I'm going to Baden City to challenge the Baden Gym, is that so? Then we'll part ways. I plan to continue training in this forest, becoming stronger and achieving my dream. Your dream? Yu was curious. Yes, my dream. Yu, you know, before I met you, I didn't have any dreams. I thought I was so powerful, but after meeting you, I realized how insignificant I am. So, my dream is to become the world's #1 Dragon-type Pokemon trainer. Yulongzhenai grew increasingly excited as he spoke, his fighting spirit flaring up. So, next time we meet, let's have a showdown. I'll definitely defeat you. Yes, let's work hard together. Yu smiled, raising his clenched right fist. Yes, let's work hard together. Yulongzhenai also raised his clenched right fist, gently touching Yu's. The two smiled at each other. The morning light bathed them, like an unforgettable scene, filled with fighting spirit and vigor. After parting with Yulongzhenai, Yu and Pikachu continued on their journey to White Sand City. Along the way, he released the little Fletch. He watched the little Fletch soaring in the sky and the Pikachu running on the ground. Yu couldn't help but think that he was still too weak. Even when he'd captured Squirtle, he'd felt his command skills were still lacking. Furthermore, in that battle with Nobuyuki Urayu, if Nobuyuki Urayu hadn't been careless and let him trick him, he would have been the loser. Although he'd acquired Pikachu over a year ago, he'd been constantly improving himself to compete in the martial arts tournament, and hadn't even battled Pokemon before. As for commanding a Pokemon, that was out of the question. Thinking of this, Yu couldn't help but rub his aching head. Looks like I need some special training too, Yu muttered to himself. Dong Dong hearing the sound, Yu looked over and saw Pikachu already playing with a Pokemon. Scanning his Pokédex, Yu discovered the Pokemon was Satamo, an electric type like Pikachu. Watching Pikachu and Pikachu playfully, Yu's eyes suddenly lit up, a sinister smile spreading across his face. He suddenly had a brilliant idea, use the wild Pokemon in the forest to train Pikachu and Fletcher, while also improving his own command abilities. He's sorry, Drumel, Yu muttered silently. Pikachu, 100,000 volts, Fletcher, Fierce Storm. Soon, the forest was filled with the sounds of Yu's commands and the fighting Pokemon. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 15 Training. Ah, we're finally here, Yu muttered weakly to himself, gazing at the nearby White Sand City. After a day's journey, coupled with his constant battles with wild Pokemon to improve himself and his Pokemon, even the Grandmaster could not help but feel exhausted. Meanwhile, somewhere in the forest on Route 4, oh why am I so unlucky? That damn fight is so intense, It's completely blocked the road. Yulong's and I was staring at the scene with a frantic look on his face. He saw that in the area where Yu had previously fought, several trees had fallen, blocking Yulong's and I's path. Normally, this wouldn't have been a problem, but now he was being followed by a swarm of giant beepers. As the fluttering of wings grew closer, listening to the death-like sound and looking at the trees blocking the road, Yulong's and I felt like crying. Don't hit my face. Ouch, my butt. Then, somewhere in the forest on Route 4, a mournful cry echoed in the air. Dividing line, White Sand City, Pokémon Center. Yu, completely unaware that he had once again set Yulong's and Yu back on his luck in a previous battle, had already arrived at the Pokémon Center's front desk. Good afternoon, Miss Joy greeted Yu as he approached. Good afternoon, this is where Pokémons recover, where trainers stay, and where all Pokémon-related care is taken care of. Miss Joy then introduced Yu to the Pokémon Center. I'm here to stay the night and log in to take on the Kalos challenge, Yu stated. I understand. Please use the Pokédex to sense this place, Miss Joy said, motioning for Yu to place the Pokédex on the display screen for sensing. After logging in with the Pokédex, Yu took the key to his room, thanked Miss Joy, and began searching for his room by the address. After finding his room and entering, Yu first took a comfortable bath. Then, as usual, he removed Suicune's Pokémon egg from its storage ring and carefully cleaned it. It's been so long, Suicune, why hasn't you come out of the egg yet? Yu muttered to himself, gazing at the pale blue Pokémon egg in his arms, lost in thought once more. Don't worry, Suicune, I'll definitely find a place with abundant water energy as soon as possible so you can hatch from the egg. Yu made a silent resolution. After playing with the Pokémon for a while longer, he turned off the lights and went to bed. This was his plan. From now on, he would practice cross-legged in the wild and sleep whenever he had a room, balancing work and rest. The next day, at the first light of dawn, Yu rose early as usual and took Pikachu and the others to a park not far from the Pokémon Center for training. They were in a unique area of the park, a vast expanse of open land with huge rocks in between, surrounded by a forest. A natural training ground. Great. We'll train here today, Yu said to Pikachu at his feet and a little Squirtle flying excitedly in the sky. Pikachu called excitedly, obviously eager to try. Chirp. Although the little Squirtle was a little confused about getting up so early for training, it still chose to follow its master's orders. Pikachu, little Squirtle, please go find some branches and stones first, Yu instructed Pikachu and little Squirtle. Hearing Yu's order, Pikachu and little Squirtle immediately dispersed to collect stones and branches. Yu found a thicker branch and drew a circle about 3 meters on the ground. A moment later, Yu looked at the stones and branches at his waist and nodded in satisfaction. Then, pointing to the circle on the ground, he said to Pikachu and Fletcher, you two, go inside that circle and avoid my attacks, but don't leave it. Understand? Pikachu swung its tail and ran into the circle, ready to face Xiaofang's attack. Seeing Pikachu enter, Fletcher followed closely behind. Yu weighed the stone in his hands, finding it heavy. He injected his inner energy into it and waved his hand. With a whoosh, the stone flew out of Yu's hands and flew straight towards Pikachu and Fletcher. With 2 cracks and snap, the stone instantly struck Pikachu and Fletcher. In less than a second, Pikachu and Fletcher seemed completely unaware. Fletcher was even knocked down from the sky. With a single wave of Yu's hand, they felt a pain and had a mark on their bodies. Yu took in Pikachu and Fletcher's expressions, his face remaining unchanged, as if he'd anticipated this situation. Zhao Kuang had trained Yu this way before, to hone his reflexes. He even gave it a catchy name, accidental positioning by sound. Using your eyes to dodge is the stupidest method. Use your senses to dodge, feel, Yu said coldly to Pikachu and Fletcher in the distance. Whether training Pokemon or himself, Yu usually maintained a stern expression, hiding his emotions. He was a warrior. Whoosh, a stone flew rapidly towards Pikachu, but just then, Pikachu dodged it by turning sideways. Chirp. Fletcher chirped a few times, somewhat disappointed. Although it had dodged, it had been inconvenienced in the air, leaving half of its body outside the circle. Good, try again, Yu encouraged with a hint of relief. For the next few minutes, Pikachu and Fletcher barely dodged Yu's hurled rocks. 4 hours later, Pikachu and Fletcher lay bruised and gasping for breath on the ground, a truly miserable sight. Yu walked over to Pikachu and Fletcher and said, Feel your own sensations and movements. Then, he drew his spear from his space ring and began to dance with it. By the time Yu and Pikachu returned to the Pokémon Center, daylight had already risen, and the streets were bustling with activity. Yu showered in his room, changed clothes, and then took Pikachu to the Pokémon Center cafeteria. But as they passed the front desk, they found a crowd of people, two Miss Junches maintaining order. Ms. Joy, please save my Rattata. Ms. Joy, please save Golly. Ms. Joy. Curious, Yu joined them, only to learn from the people around them that the Pokémon Center had been attacked and its power supply had been damaged. As a result, the injured Pokémon were deprived of proper medical care and had to rely on Miss Joy and Chandler to support them. Watching the chaotic scene, Miss Joy and Miss Junce felt a surge of anxiety. The damaged power system had rendered many medical devices inoperable, making it difficult to treat some Pokémon. Sister, what should we do now? It'll take some time to repair the power system. It'll take half a day to call in the sisters from other cities, one Miss Joy said distressedly to the other. The other Miss Joy sighed, Alice. There's nothing we can do now. We can only do our best to treat as many Pokémon as possible. That evil organization is truly despicable. How could they do such a thing? Seeing her sister unable to do anything, Miss Joy gritted her teeth, her face filled with anger. Miss Joy. Let me help too. As the two Miss Joys were conversing, a voice suddenly boomed from nearby. Chapter 16, The Beginning of Medical Skills. The two Miss Joys, upon hearing the voice, were startled and looked in the direction of the voice. How could it be him? The older Miss Joy exclaimed in surprise. Sister, do you know him? Well, not really. I just met him yesterday when I was helping him log into the Alliance and arranging accommodations for him. I only know his name is Yu and he's from China. At this moment, Yu was stopped by the two Miss Junches. Looking at the Miss Junches who were stopping him, Yu said helplessly, Miss Junche, please let me go over and help. I've studied medicine, little brother, healing Pokémon is no joke, even if you have some medical skills. Leave the task to Miss Joy and the others, but, seeing that Miss Junche still didn't believe him, Yu became anxious. Just as he was about to say something else, he was interrupted by Miss Joy, who had arrived with him. Yu, you said you know medicine. Do you have anything to prove it? Let me look for it. Yu quickly pulled out a small red booklet from his storage ring, its cover emblazoned with 9 silver needles of varying lengths. Yu, could you lend us that booklet? Miss Joy's eyes lit up when she saw the booklet in Yu's hand. Sure, take a look, sister. Could this booklet be the Book of Miraculous Healers? Miss Joy took the booklet and began to examine it carefully. Well, you said he was from China before, so this must be the Book of Miraculous Healers. Yes. In that case, Junche, let him come over. He does know medicine, and his skills are very likely superior to ours. One of the Misses, Junche, saw that Miss Joy, who had just looked skeptical, had actually believed Yu's book after seeing it. She even claimed that Yu's medical skills were superior to theirs. Curiously, she asked, what exactly is this little red booklet, Joey? It's called the Book of Miraculous Healers. It's used by members of a special Chinese organization called the Medical Hall as proof of their identity. The most important thing about it is that, although the members are few, every one of them possesses exceptional medical skills, surpassing, if not surpassing, those of our Joey family, Miss Joey said, her words tinged with admiration. SHHH, so impressive. But he's so young. You don't look like someone with exceptional medical skills, Miss Junche gasped, appearing somewhat shocked. After all, the Junche and Joey families were old friends, and Miss Junche knew a little about the Joey family's abilities. Yu ignored Miss Junche's surprised look and walked directly to a little earth dragon, kneeling down and meticulously treating it. Watching Yu's deft treatment of the earth dragon, even Miss Joey, who had been prepared, was stunned. Ultimately, Pokémon healing, with sufficient experience and equipment, can cure any Pokémon. However, without the equipment, they're like a skilled swordsman without his sword, masterful swordsmanship, yet unable to unleash their full potential. Just like the Geodude before Yu, despite being seriously injured, Miss Joy had to use potions to maintain its health. Because Geodude was made entirely of stone, some potions couldn't penetrate it, so she had to apply the potion to its wounds. Facing the Geodude, Yu finally slowed down. He first pulled out a small jade bottle from his storage ring, poured a small pill into Geodude's mouth, then pulled out a pack of silver needles, drew out several, and injected his inner energy into them. With swift speed, he stabbed Geodude once more. The silver needles, imbued with internal energy, sliced through Geodude's rock-hard body like a knife, unaffected by it. They effortlessly pierced the creature's body. Miss Joy and Miss Junsha, standing by, were stunned. Miss Joy's mouths were wide open, as if a Pokemon egg could fit inside. They had been about to warn Yu about to perform Chinese acupuncture, but the scene before them truly shocked them. The crowd, blocked outside by Miss Junsha, paused their chatter and watched in disbelief. The silver needle stabbed into Geodude's flesh, trembling slightly with each puncture. Soon, Geodude's injuries began to heal, a change that filled Miss Joy with admiration. As time passed, more and more Pokemon recovered thanks to Yu's treatment. During this time, Miss Joy also joined in. The sisters took care of some of the less seriously injured Pokemon, while those they couldn't treat or those with more serious injuries were handed over to Yu. Time divider, I've healed most of Rhino's injuries, but you'll need to limit its combat exposure over the next few days, as the wound on its leg still needs to heal, Yu instructed the trainer of the last Pokemon he traded. Yes. I understand. Thank you, little brother. No thanks. Yu's face paled as he finished treating the last Pokemon. He fainted immediately after answering, startling the nearby Pikachu, who quickly stood upright and supported Yu's back, preventing his head from making direct contact with the floor. Miss Joy, noticing something unusual, rushed over. After examining Yu, she sighed deeply, patted her chest, and said to Pikachu, who was watching Yu anxiously, "Don't worry, Pikachu. Yu is just exhausted. He'll be fine after a good night's sleep. Please stay here and help watch over Yu. I have something else to do, so I'll go take care of it first. Call me when he wakes up, Pikachu." Where is this? Pikachu, as Yu opened his eyes, he was greeted by Pikachu, who was looking at him with concern. Pikachu, Pikachu cried out in delight at seeing Yu awake, throwing himself into Yu's arms and rubbing his little, air-filled cheek against Yu's face. Ha, it's okay, Pikachu, stop, it's itchy. Ha, for a moment, the room was filled with laughter. When Yu woke up, it was already evening. The power system of the Pokemon Center had been repaired, and he was carried back to his room. Chapter 17, Challenging the Bathing Gym. Yu, you're awake. I made some porridge for you. Miss Joy came in with a clay pot, pushed the door open, and smiled at the two people playing together. Miss Joy, how are those Pokemon now? Seeing Miss Joy come in, Yu stopped Pikachu's playful movements and asked. Thanks to Yijun, those Pokemon are in a very stable condition. They only need to be taken home and rested for a few days, and they will be full of energy again. Miss Joy came to Yu's bed, opened the clay pot, filled the bowl of porridge, and handed it to Yu. Thank you, Miss Joy. Yu thanked Miss Joy after receiving the porridge. You're welcome. I should be the one saying thank you for helping me so much, Miss Joy said playfully. Yu blushed slightly at Miss Joy's playful look, and buried his head in the bowl embarrassedly. PFFT, your medical skills are truly remarkable. Oh, and this little booklet is the legendary Miracle Healer's book that's so popular in Chinese medicine, right? You were so busy treating Pokemon that you forgot to take it back. Seeing Yu's adorable expression, Miss Joy couldn't help but smile. She pulled the Miracle Healer's book from her pocket and handed it to Yu. Well, Yu, can you promise me something? Miss Joy suddenly said, a little embarrassed, as Yu retracted the Miracle Healer's book. Miss Joy, what can I do for you? I'll do my best to help you. Seeing Miss Joy seemed like she had something she wanted to help with but couldn't bring herself to say, Yu immediately patted her chest and promised. Here's the thing. Yu, I see that you're such a skilled doctor. If I ever have any difficult or complicated problems with Pokemon or people in the future, could you please help me? I won't let you do it in vain, and I'll pay you. Seeing Yu's ready agreement, Miss Joy readily agreed to her request. Ms. Joy, talking about money hurts our feelings. Besides, saving lives is a doctor's duty. Miss Joy, I agree to your request. If there's anything I can do for you in the future, I'll definitely help, Yu said righteously, patting his chest. Thank you, Yu. Miss Joy rubbed her moistened eyes, somewhat touched. You're the handsome young man with superb medical skills who showed off his prowess at the Pokemon Center yesterday. Your name is Yu, right? Although Yu felt a little embarrassed by the compliment, he still said, Ms. Violet, thank you for the compliment. Please accept my challenge to a gym tournament with gym badges at stake. Indeed, Yu had hurried to the White Sandalwood Gym to challenge her after finishing training with his Pokémon early in the morning. Standing before him, radiating the air of a queen, was none other than the White Sandalwood Gym's gym leader, Violet. Okay, I accept your challenge. Don't think I'll go easy on you just because you saved the Pokémon at the Pokémon Center. HMPH, that's exactly what I wanted. If you have what it takes, come on. I'll take it all. As they spoke, the group arrived at the battle arena at the White Sandalwood Gym. After everyone took their positions, the referee began to explain the rules. Now, Challenger Yu versus Gym Trainer Violet. The White Sandalwood Gym tournament is about to begin. Each team may use 2 Pokémon. The match ends when all of one team's Pokémon are incapacitated. Furthermore, only the challenger has the right to replace a Pokémon. We have to win, just like aiming and clicking the shutter. Yo-yo. Let's begin. Gym Trainer Violet sent out the first Pokémon. Oh. It's Yo-yo. Go, Pikachu, Pikachu, Pikachu called out, leaping from Yu's shoulder into the arena. Well, let's begin the game. Pikachu, strike first, lightning flash, Yo-yo, avoid it. The Yo-yo on the field glided across the field like an ice skater, nimbly dodging Pikachu's lightning flashes time and time again. Ms. Violet, your Yo-yo and Pikachu are quite skilled. Pikachu uses Iron Tail to attack the ground, then Lightning Flash. Pikachu's Iron Tail struck the ground, and the vibrations from the ground hindered the Yo-yo's gliding. The Yo-yo, which had been frozen in time, was knocked back by the Lightning Flash. Yo-yo, are you okay? Violet asked with concern. Tang great, Yo-yo, use Freeze Beam. Pikachu, get out of the way, the fun has just begun. Pikachu dodged one Freeze Beam after another, but the ones he dodged hit the battlefield, and soon it was covered in ice, like a small skating rink. Yo-yo, on the ice, seemed to be assisted by a god, not only becoming more agile but also causing Pikachu to slip and fall repeatedly. Miss Violet, you really have it. I accept all your compliments. The Yo-yo flashed with lightning. Pikachu, don't panic. Calm down, stand firm, and use Iron Tail again to send it flying. Pikachu stood upright, feet firmly planted on the ground. Just as the Yo-yo was about to approach, his tail glowed white, and he sent Iron Tail flying, sending it flying. Without giving it time to react, he followed it up with a 100,000 volt blast, effectively incapacitating it. Yo-yo, incapacitated, the referee said. What? How is this possible? You actually broke into my ice studio. Violet stared at the scene, stunned. So that move of yours is called Ice Studio. Actually, I didn't really break your ice studio. I just told Pikachu to hold her horse stance steady so she wouldn't slip again. After all, Pikachu has practiced horse stance well. I see. I was careless this round. Come back, Yo-yo. Sorry, Yo-yo, I made a mistake in command. But you won't be so lucky next round. Go, Butterfree. Violet retracted the Yo-yo and sent out Butterfree. Pikachu, come back and rest. It's you, Fletcher. You also decisively replaced Pikachu. Chirp. Perhaps because he could fight, Fletcher seemed very excited. Butterfree, use Fierce Blast. Fletcher, glide downwind, approach Fletcher, and peck. Fletcher used Fierce Blast to get closer and was about to peck at Fletcher. Violet had already ordered, great opportunity. Blue Butterfly Sleep Powder, you're amazing, Miss Violet. Yu was taken aback. He hadn't expected Violet to return the favor. In the new year, I wish you all good fortune. May your career flourish and all your dreams come true. Chapter 18, Fierce Battle in the Sky. The little eagle was affected by the sleep powder of the blue butterfly, and its flapping wings immediately became limp, and it fell straight from the sky. Come back. Little eagle. Yu decisively took the little eagle back. Pikachu, I'm counting on you again. Go, Pikachu. Pikachu called out with great momentum, and took the field again. Pikachu, move at high speed. Then attack randomly, quickly, get out of the way, use illusion. Blue Butterfly barely avoided Pikachu's attack, then used illusion. A blue-purple light enveloped Pikachu, not only blocking Pikachu's movement, but also carrying it into the air. Before Pikachu could react, it was thrown to the ground. Here's your chance to press the shutter. Blue Butterfly, Sunshine Blaze. Violet made a camera focus gesture with her hands. Pikachu, How are you? Yu hurriedly ordered, watching Pikachu struggling to get up from the ground. 100,000 volts. The 100,000 volts and the sunlight flames, two massive energies, collided, causing an explosion. The blast sent Pikachu flying. Pikachu, you're incapacitated. Pikachu, you've worked hard. Get some rest. Yu gestured to the referee, walked into the ring, and carried Pikachu out. Go. Fletch. Yu tossed Fletch's Pokeball again. Chirp. Fletch, though not as energetic as the first time, was now somewhat more alert. Fletch, Steel Wing, Butterfly, get out of the way. Illusion. Fletch dodged the incoming Steel Wing and cast Illusion. Fletch, enveloped in a bluish-purple glow, immediately followed Pikachu's footsteps and was slammed to the ground, though not incapacitated. Little Archer, use your full-strength Lightning Flash. Useless. Yu, you've never learned your lesson. After the blue butterfly dodges, use Illusion. That's not necessarily true. Yu's lip curled. Now, turn and attack. Just as Little Archer was about to reach Blue Butterfly, it suddenly vanished. What? Blue Butterfly, watch your back, but it was still a step too late. Little Archer had already appeared behind Blue Butterfly, knocking it back. Good opportunity. Little Archer seized the opportunity. Without giving Blue Butterfly a chance to adjust, Little Archer launched another Steel Wing attack. Blue Butterfly, Sleep Powder. Blue Butterfly, in its shape, quickly used Sleep Powder on the oncoming Little Archer. Damn it, Little Archer, quickly gain distance. Use Fierce Wind to blow away the Sleep Powder. Blue Butterfly, Sun Flame. Just as Little Archer was about to blow away the Sleep Powder, a Sun Flame blasted straight at it. Little Aerobird, fold your wings, tilt your center of gravity downward, and descend to avoid the sunlight blaze. Then, use another spinning attack, Yu commanded quickly. After dodging the sunlight blaze, Little Aerobird used a spinning attack to knock the Blue Butterfly, still suffering from the after effects of the sunlight blaze, back into the ice created by the yo-yo candy balls from the previous round. The attack sent some shattered ice flying, demonstrating the sheer force of the attack. Watching the Blue Butterfly staggering back up from the ground, Violet noticed something was amiss. Why had the Blue Butterfly slowed down? A closer look and a change of expression terrified her. There was ice on the Blue Butterfly's wings. Little Aerobird, don't give it a chance to breathe. Attack with all your might with the Steel Wings, with a warrior's keen intuition. Yu certainly noticed. Blue Butterfly, Violet cried out nervously as she watched the Blue Butterfly struck by the Steel Wings. Emerald Butterfly is incapacitated, and Little Arrow is victorious. Therefore, the winner is the challenger, Yu, the referee announced, observing the result. Well done, Little Arrow, Yu praised, caressing Little Arrow perched on his finger. Yu, congratulations. This is proof of your victory over me in the gym battle, the bug badge. Please accept it. Just then, Violet approached from the opposite direction, took the gym badge from the referee, and handed it to Yu. Thank you, Miss Violet. Yu thanked her after accepting it. Regional boundary, White Sand City, Pokémon Center. Sister, are you leaving? Why don't you stay with me for a few more days? Miss Joy said reluctantly, looking at her sister in front of her. No, I have things to do and need to return to the family right away. Besides, you're not a child anymore. Why are you still so clingy? Miss Joy smiled, gently stroking her sister's hair. I know, sister, you're really something. You always say that to me, Miss Joy muttered. That's right. Isn't that right, Chandler? Cheeky Channy. Chandler nodded in agreement. Cheeky, you traitor, Miss Joy shouted angrily. Oh, by the way, if you have any trouble healing Pokemon in the future, you can go to Xiaoyu and ask him to help you. Xiaoyu, yes, that's Yu. Yesterday I adopted him as my younger brother, and he promised to help me with Pokemon healing in the future if I have any problems. Oh, really? That's great. Hey, Sister Masako, are you going home? Yu, who had just returned from the gym battle, walked straight over to Joy Masako. From his conversation with Miss Joy yesterday, Yu also learned that her name was Joy Masako. Oh, it's Xiaoyu back. I heard you went to the gym battle today. What happened? Joy Masako asked curiously upon seeing Yu return. What do you think, Sister Yezi? Yu said, holding out the bug badge like a treasure. That's pretty impressive, winning a gym battle on your first try, but don't get too proud. And Xiaoyu, if you run into any trouble in the future, You can always come to me or one of the other Joy sisters, okay? Joy Yezi looked at Yu, who seemed like a child, and warned him. Got it, Sister Masako, be careful on your way back. I'll go back and pack my things and prepare to go to Haruka City to challenge the Haruka gym. Well, go ahead. Looking at Yu's back, Joey Masako couldn't help but pursed her lips and said to her sister, little sister, Xiao is so pitiful. He has no parents since he was a child. He has always lived with his master before, and now he is alone in this foreign country. And now that I have recognized him as my brother, you are also his sister. Please help him if you can. I beg you. I will also say hello to the other sisters later, don't worry, sister. It's precisely because of the family that we don't have an older brother or a younger brother. I think the other sisters will definitely like to have such a capable brother. Well, okay, I'll go first, no need to see you off. Goodbye, sister. Chapter 19's Organization. Ms. Junsha, has Sister Masako left? Yu, who had packed up his things, came to Miss Joy, who had already returned to the front desk and asked. It's Xiao. Sister just left not long ago? Oh, why can't I call you Xiao? I tell you, since you are my sister's adopted brother, then I am her sister. It's wrong for me to call you Xiao. Call me sister now. Seeing Yu's frown, Miss Joy couldn't help but joke seriously. No. Hello, Sister Joy, since you are now my sister, I will give you a welcome gift. Then Yu took out a pill from his stored ring and handed it to Miss Joy, introducing it, Sister Joy. This pill is called the rejuvenating pill. Although it is not as exaggerated as eternal youth, it also has the effect of beautifying and detoxifying. It is best to take it before taking a bath. Is this rejuvenating pill really as powerful as you say? Miss Joy took the pill and said in disbelief. You'll know whether it works or not after you eat it. Okay, Sister Joy, I have some more to do, so I'm leaving now. Bye. Yu led Pikachu towards the Pokemon Center's gate. Time divider, the rider of Rhino number 5 is in the lead, amazing. The rider of Rhino number 2 has overtaken them. After a long journey, Yu arrived at Smeru village, where the Rhino race was taking place. With a goal of cultivating, Yu had signed up. Looking at the Rhino before him, Yu felt helpless. Every time he climbed up, he was thrown off again, even though he was a grandmaster. Brother, I'm calling you brother, can you please give me some respect and stop throwing me down? Pikachu, not far away, saw Yu's embarrassed look and laughed without giving him face. Haha, Yu, I didn't expect you to be so embarrassed, a familiar laugh echoed. Yu looked in the direction of the voice and saw Yulong Zinai, whom he had met earlier, approaching him with an armored rhino. Why are you here too? Of course I'm here to participate in the armored rhino race. Otherwise, I wouldn't have missed you looking so miserable. Well, you know how to ride, and you're so nervous to laugh at me. Of course I can. Do you want me to teach you? Yulong Zinai said with a sly grin. Sure, Yu, determined to learn, readily agreed. And so, Yu began learning how to ride an armored rhino from Yulong Zinai. At first, Yu would still get thrown off the rhino, but gradually, the number of times he got thrown off decreased. His learning speed made Yulong Zinai wonder if Yu was lying. Although he could ride an armored rhino, he had spent months learning it. Seeing this, Yu couldn't help but sigh at the warrior's remarkable learning ability. What Yu didn't know was that while he was diligently learning how to ride the armored rhino, a girl in a straw hat not far away was watching his every move with a smile on her face, her beautiful eyes filled with joy. It's great to see you again. I wonder what your expression will be when you see me, the girl murmured to herself. The next day. Yu, let's have a race to see who can reach the halfway point first. Yulong Zinyi's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Yes, I'm fine with that. Yu also seemed a little excited. At the referee's command, they each rode their armored rhinos and charged across the track. But perhaps because they were all amateurs, the gap they had once held with the others gradually widened. As a result, Yu and Yulong Zinyi were left far behind by the main group. Yu, look! Why is there white smoke coming out ahead? Suddenly, Yulong Zinyi stopped and pointed ahead. Oops. Something seems to be happening up ahead. Yu also stopped and squinted his eyes. Hey! What are you two doing here? Just then, Miss Junsha, who had been following behind on a motorcycle, caught up. Asked by Miss Junsha, Yulong Zinai awkwardly explained the reason. Then, he quickly changed the subject, pointing to white smoke rising not far away. Miss Junsha, look at that smoke up ahead. I wonder what's going on. I'll go check it out. You guys stay here. Meanwhile, the competitors in the rhino race watched warily as 3 men in black clothes with a red S printed on them were nearby. Who are you? Get out of the way. Yes, get out of the way. We still have the race to go on. If you don't, I'll let the rhino teach you a lesson. Ha ha ha, did I hear you right? You're the only one who wants to teach us a lesson. The seemingly leading man in black laughed and threw a Pokeball. Anteater, Flame Vortex. The Flame Vortex immediately surrounded the competitors and the rhino race. Do you really think we're easy prey? Let's attack together. Rhino horn ramming. Seeing someone take the lead, the others quickly responded. Rhino, charge out and trample. Rhino, charge straight ahead. Upon hearing their trainer's orders, some of the more powerful rhinos rushed out of the vortex of flames, carrying their trainers with them and attacking Ant Metron. Use Solar Beam, the leading black-clad figure sneered disdainfully. Grass-type skills dealt exceptional damage to the rhinos, who possessed both rock and ground types. Soon, one rhino after another was incapacitated by Ant Metron's attacks. You two, drive the truck over and transport all these rhinos, the leading black-clad figure ordered the other two. Yes, Captain, the 2 black-clad figures responded and ran into the forest, soon arriving in a truck. Come out, Guri. Get all those Raidens onto the truck. 2 men in black tossed their Pokeballs, and 2 Gureks appeared. Stop. Who are you? A woman's voice suddenly interrupted the 2 Gureks as they were carrying the Raidens. Then, the dashing Miss Junsha rushed over on a motorcycle, followed by 2 men on Raidens. You're from the Samsara organization. Seeing the red S on the men in black, Miss Junsha immediately revealed their identities. I'm arresting you for violating the Pokemon Protection Act. Surrender, go. Growlithe. Slam it, HMPH. Such a stunt. You two keep carrying the Raidens, I'll handle her. Meltdown, Split. The 2 Pokemon immediately engaged in combat, a battle that was evenly matched for a moment. Elsewhere, Yulong Zinai and Yiyu also stepped forward to stop the 2 men in black. Did you two forget about us? Pikachu, 100,000 volts, Baby Dragonite, use Dragon Breath. Chapter 20 Fierce Battle. Howley, dodge. Use Tile Splitting, Howley, use Endurance. Howley leaned to the left, avoiding the 100,000 volts, and leaned forward to unleash Tile Splitting at Pikachu. Pikachu, block it with Iron Tail. Kid, you're still too inexperienced. Howley, kick down. Then, remembering the captain's instructions, Yiyu pulled a tranquilizer gun from his waist. Pikachu, be careful. Seeing Pikachu in danger, Yiyu abandoned all else and pulled out his spear from his storage ring, channeling his inner energy into it. With a sweeping blow, he deflected Howley's kick towards Pikachu's legs, then used Immortal's guidance to knock the tranquilizer gun away. Yiyu is incredible. This unexpected turn of events left Yulong Zinai gaping in surprise. Alright. Baby Dragon, we can't lose to Yiyu. Use energy concentration first, then the Mind Hammer. Bang! Howley, unable to block, was sent flying backwards by the Mind Hammer. Seeing this, before Yulong Zinai could even begin to rejoice, the black-clad man on the opposite side drew his tranquilizer gun from his waist and fired at Dragonite. Bang! With the sound of the gunshot, Dragonite collapsed unconscious. Dragonite, Yulong Zinai exclaimed, rushing over to investigate. You're so despicable. There are no rules when dealing with people who harm Pokemon like this. The only thing we can do is defeat them by any means necessary. Prevent any more Pokemon from getting hurt. Meanwhile, Yiyu had also dispatched the black-clad man and rushed over. He first sent him flying with a shot, then, while checking Dragonite's injuries, addressed a furious Yulong Zinai. Catty, how are you? Miss Joy's nervous voice echoed from the side. Distracted by worry about the situation, Catty was struck by a cleavage, struggling to hold its own, panting. Come out. Fletcher. Pikachu, coordinate with Fletcher and launch your own attacks. Since you couldn't spare any time, he could send out Pikachu and Fletcher to delay them. Pikachu, seeing the leading black-clad figure retreat without further ado, Pikachu frantically activated a 100,000 volt attack to block the attack. However, it was blocked by Antbeast's jet of fire. Then, another cleave attack collided with Fletcher's steel wings, sending a wave of blasts through the air. Taking advantage of the stalemate between Antbeast and Fletcher, Pikachu unleashed a lightning strike, sending Fletcher flying at breakneck speed. Flame Splash, the leading black-clad figure, observing the situation, remained calm as he issued orders while slowly retreating. Pikachu, Fletcher, unable to dodge, was about to be hit by the Flame Splash. Suddenly, a yellow figure came into view. Seeing Flickant in danger, Pikachu abandoned all else and quickly used Lightning Flash to knock Flickant out of range. After spending these days together, Pikachu and Flickant had become close friends. Flickant watched helplessly as Pikachu, trying to save it, was struck by a flaming blast and fell to the ground. Flickant was filled with anger and powerlessness, wishing he were stronger and more powerful, so he could protect Pikachu and help his master, instead of feeling so powerless. Chirp! Flickant suddenly cried out to the sky, its voice filled with a desire for power. It seemed only this way could it vent its frustration. Suddenly, a white light shone from Flickant's body. Slowly, enveloped in the white light, Flickant grew at a visible rate. "Evolved into Rocket," said Nobuo, with envy. The evolved Rocket Heart first used his newly learned Feather Roost to restore his depleted stamina. Then, he charged forward with Steel Wings. "Just now, I was hesitant because of the two-way fight. Do you really think Aunt Metron is afraid of you?" Flame Whip. Before Rocket could even get close, he was whipped back by Flame Whip. HMPH. Aunt Metron finished it off. Jet Flame. Seeing the jet of fire that outshone him, Rocket suddenly panicked, unsure what to do. "Rocket, Steel Wing." Chirp! Hearing the familiar voice, Rocket unleashed Steel Wings without hesitation. Yu, who had rushed over, shook his head and sighed. His Pokémon's ability to react was still too poor. Rocket's Steel Wings were like a sharp knife, slicing the oncoming jet of fire in half. "What? How is that possible?" the leading black-clad figure exclaimed. "Rocket, use continuous peck attacks." Without giving the enemy a chance to breathe, Yu gave the order. Because it had fought a battle with Growl at first, and then fought 2 against 1, the Meltant, which already had little physical strength, finally fell to the ground and lost its ability to fight after being continuously attacked by Rocket Sparrow. "In that case, then you should fall down too." The leading man in black pulled out a tranquilizer gun and aimed it at Rocket Sparrow. "You dare!" Yu shouted angrily, rushing forward with the spear in hand. When the man in black was about to pull the trigger, the spear stretched out and first knocked the tranquilizer gun away. Then the gun barrel swung and the man in black was whipped directly into the big tree behind him, foaming at the mouth and fainting. "Sir, you've gone a little too far." Suddenly, a figure with 2 samurai swords on his waist appeared from nowhere. "Too much? Humph. I don't think so." Yu raised a disdainful smile at the corner of his mouth. "Oh. Really? Brat, don't think you're so great just because you're a warrior. In front of me, you're still just a brat. I think you're a warrior too. How about a fight?" Yu pointed his spear at the ground, ready to attack at any moment. "Arrogant brat, today I'll show you why flowers are so red," the samurai sneered, drawing his katana and slashing at Yu with lightning speed, one sword style. Ding, ding, ding. The collision of spear and katana sent sparks flying. The man in black gripped his katana with trembling hands as he looked at Yu, who remained calm and composed. He was filled with shock. From the brief exchange, he clearly realized that Yu's strength surpassed his own. He was already considering retreating, but his inner Bushido wouldn't allow him to do so. "Ah! Die? You forced me to do this, two-sword style," the man in black roared, drawing his other katana from his waist and charging forward. 7 probe coiled snake spear. The spear light and the sword shadow intertwined again. Although the black man's swordsmanship was sharp, Yu's spearmanship was like a venomous snake, ruthless and tricky, making it impossible to defend against it. After just a few moves, the man in black was forced into danger and was in a very embarrassing situation. Suddenly, there was a crisp sound of crack. The black man's samurai sword, due to the repeated collisions with his spear, broke into 2 pieces. "Wow! The quality of your weapons is really not good." After retreating one after another, Yu teased. "Damn! What kind of spear do you have? It can actually break my sword." The black man's face was terribly gloomy. "This spear is called the Yejiao spear, a spear that has no equal at the ends of the earth. Remember it?" Yu shook the gun. "Good. Very good. I remember you, just wait for me." After saying this hateful words, the black man threw a smoke bomb and turned to disappear into the woods. Chapter 21, Another Sister. Where is this place? Yu surveyed the surroundings in confusion. Just then, the door to the room opened. "Yulong Zinai," Seeing you awake, said happily, "This is the Pokémon Center. You fainted earlier from exertion. How are you feeling now?" "I'm fine." Yu felt a little helpless now, having been feeling like he'd been fainting so often these past few days. "By the way, where are Pikachu and the others?" Seeing no sign of Pikachu, Yu couldn't help but feel anxious. "Don't worry, Miss Joy is taking care of Pikachu and the others," Yulong Zenai consoled him. "Thank you, Yulong Zenai, no need, I should be thanking you. Just call me Zenai from now on." "Yeah, hey, Yu, you're awake. What are you talking about? You look so happy." Miss Junsha entered, carrying Pikachu and Rocket. "Miss Junsha," Yulong Zenai greeted. "Pikachu, Pikachu," chirped seeing Yu awake. The two Pokemon happily jumped out of Miss Junsha's arms and surrounded him. "Miss Junsha," Yu rubbed Pikachu's little head. "Yu, I know you're a warrior, but you must be careful of the S organization. You disrupted their plan today, and they won't let this go." Miss Junsha looked at Yu playing with a Pokemon and warned him with a serious and concerned look. S organization? Yu was a little confused. He wasn't the least bit surprised at how Miss Junsha knew about warriors. Just kidding, the Junsha family is one of the most powerful families in Japan. He would be surprised if Miss Junsha didn't know about this. Organization S, also known as the Samsara Organization, is the most numerous evil organization in Japan. They have forces spread across every region, but their headquarters are nowhere to be found. Their leader is the most mysterious, and we know nothing about him. Miss Joy pursed her delicate pink lips and said solemnly, "Next are the 8 captains under his command. Each captain possesses at least the strength of a mid-level Earth-grade ninja. Below the captains are the squadron leaders, each with a combat power ranging from high-level human-grade ninja to early-level Earth-grade ninja. The knife-wielding black man you defeated earlier was a squadron leader. As for the small-time captains, they are completely ordinary people. In that case, Miss Junsha, you don't have to worry. I wouldn't say I'm invincible, but I can certainly protect myself," Yu said with a reassuring smile. Previously, during his training in China, he had heard about the Japanese martial arts tradition, which is divided into 3 levels: human-grade ninja, earth-grade ninja, and heaven-grade ninja, corresponding to warrior, grandmaster, and grandmaster, respectively. The early stage corresponds to levels 1 to 3, the middle stage corresponds to levels 4 to 6, and the late stage corresponds to levels 7 to 9. Ah. Then you should have a good rest. Anyway, you should be careful afterwards." Miss Junsha sighed and took Yulong Zenai out. A moment later, looking at Yu who was ready to go, Miss Junsha said angrily, "Didn't I tell you to rest more? What are you doing now?" "I plan to continue on my way. And you don't need to worry about me. The reason I fainted before was because I first rescued Baby Dragon, then fought a battle with a black-clad man, and then rescued Growlithe. I consumed too much internal energy and fainted. I just rested and I feel much better now." Yu was afraid that Miss Junsha would say something else, so he quickly explained. "Okay. Then where are you going, Yu?" Miss Junsha saw that Yu looked so confident and didn't know what to say, so she had to ask. "Let's go to Haruka City and challenge the Haruka Gym. I remember you came from Mire City, didn't you?" "You haven't challenged the Mire Gym yet, have you?" "That's because I heard the Mire Gym leader is very powerful. I plan to wait until I become stronger before challenging him," Yu said, looking a little embarrassed. "I'm going to Haruka City, so I'll give you a ride." That's not necessary." Yu scratched his head. "You don't think I'm inferior to Masako, do you? I heard Masako has adopted you as her younger brother." Miss Junsha walked towards Yu, leaning almost close to him, her beautiful eyes meeting Yu's clear gaze. No, I'm afraid it'll interfere with Miss Junsha's work, due to the distance between them." Yu blushed as he smelled the girl's delicate virgin fragrance, and his words stuttered. Seeing Yu's adorable side, Miss Junsha couldn't help but laugh and said, "In that case, I'll be your god sister too. My name is Junchaling, so you can call me Sister Xiaoling from now on. As for my job, don't worry. I'm just here to help my sister maintain order in the Armored Rhino competition." "Okay, now call me sister." He looking at Junchaling, who looked like a little girl, Yu didn't know what to say. He could only silently complain in his heart, wondering why someone always took advantage of him. In the end, he just obediently called her Sister Ling. He got on Junchaling's motorcycle, who looked very happy, and returned to Yaoxiang City. Not long after Yu left on Zhao Xiaoling's motorcycle, a girl wearing a straw hat hurried to the Pokémon Center. Judging from the girl's age, she should be no more than 16 years old, which means she doesn't have any Pokémon. And judging by her anxious look, it was obvious that she was here to find someone very important to her. Little sister, is there anything I can help you with? Miss Joy gave a professional smile, looking at the breathless girl before her. Joe? Who? Miss Joy, who? Does Yu live here? The girl said, a little hurriedly. She had originally planned to meet Yu after the armored rhino competition. But she waited at the finish line, but there was no sign of him. She then asked her fellow competitors and learned that Yu had been taken to the Pokémon Center unconscious. Her heart leaped, and she hurried to the Pokémon Center. Yu. He and Miss Junsha just left together not long ago. Did you run into them? Oh, I see, the girl said, a little disappointed. Seeing her disappointed look, Miss Joy thought for a moment, a little reluctantly, by the way, I overheard their conversation earlier, and Yu seemed to be saying he was going to Iruka City to challenge the Hiruka Gym. Really? Thank you, Miss Joy. The girl happily said goodbye to Miss Joy and left the Pokémon Center. On the way out, the girl had a faint smile on her face, and she was always thinking about the scene of meeting Yu. If you are listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means it was downloaded and re-uploaded without effort. We warmly invite you to visit our channel, Fanfic World. There you will find the original version of this story and many other novels of various genres. We look forward to seeing you dive into a world of incredible novels. Chapter 22 Battle Against the Castle. A few days later, Yu arrived at a castle, the Battle Castle. Unlike gym battles, the battles at the Battle Castle were imbued with the spirit of chivalry. Seeing the words carved into the stone wall, "Prove your strength with your title," Yu's lips curled up, his eyes filled with fighting spirit. He couldn't help but recall that a few days earlier, while Zhao Xiaoling was driving him to Iruka City, he encountered a black-robed figure named Madame X riding a police motorcycle identical to Zhao Xiaoling's. Suspicious, he followed her, only to discover that Madame X was actually Miss Zhao Shan, under the control of the Squid King. Although they later defeated the Squid King and rescued Miss Zhao Shan, she was still weakened from the effects of her control. Although Yu had been treating her, Zhao Xiaoling remained concerned, as Miss Zhao Shan was her cousin. So, she asked Yu to let her go to Iruka City on her own while she drove Miss Zhao Shan to the hospital in Meyer City. Thinking of this, Yu couldn't help but shake his head and chuckle, muttering to himself, I wonder if Miss Zhao Shan is feeling better now. Upon entering, he saw a maid standing in the Western-style hall. Hello, welcome to the Battle Castle, the maid bowed. Hello, my name is Yu, and I'm from China. I'm here to compete in a battle at the Battle Castle. Could you please help me arrange it? Yu said politely. Tisk tisk. What a passionate young man. Just then, a middle-aged man dressed in a butler's uniform emerged from the door. Hello, Yu greeted. He's the butler here, his name is Yikan, the maid introduced. It's our first meeting, and I'm very happy to welcome guests from China. Now, let me guide you through the battle arrangements. And I'll explain the rules of the Battle Castle. Yikan bowed and led the way. By the way, all the trainers here are called knights. Yikan glanced back at Yu. Soon, Yu followed Yikan through the corridor and arrived at a large door. During the conversation, Yu also learned about the Battle Castle's hierarchy: Baron, Viscount, Earl, Marquess, Duke, Grand Duchess, and Grand Duchess. Defeating 10 people of the same rank grants a promotion. Come in. Yikan pushed open the door and introduced the people inside. This is Yu from China. I currently hold no title. In that case, Yu, please accept my challenge. My name is Yan Yi, and I'm also a new trainer. I'd appreciate your guidance. A red-haired boy, about Yu's age, approached. Thank you for your guidance. On the battlefield, Yan Yi and Yu stood facing each other, Pokeballs in hand. After completing the Battle Castle's pre-battle etiquette, they tossed their Pokeballs one after another. Go. Onyx, go. Pikachu. As a sign of respect, Yu placed Pikachu in his Pokeball first. Seeing Onyx, Yu raised an eyebrow. This battle wasn't going our way. Pikachu, strike first. Lightning Flash, Iron Tail, Onyx, use Burrow. Just as Pikachu was about to close in, Onyx used Burrow and burrowed into the ground. Pikachu seeing its target gone, Pikachu looked around in panic and confusion, and its forward movement came to a halt. Good opportunity. Onyx, Bang! Onyx burst out of the ground, sending the smaller Pikachu flying. Pikachu, don't panic. Use Lightning Flash and Iron Tail again, it's no use. Onyx, use Burrow, we've been waiting for this moment. Pikachu, use Iron Tail to hit the ground, what? Onyx, hold on. As Pikachu continued to pummel the ground with Iron Tail, Onyx finally burst out of the ground. Onyx, make noise while you're burrowing out. The noise immediately interrupted Pikachu's attack, and he covered his ears in pain. You've got some skills, Yanyi, you couldn't help but praise. Same here, Yanyi chuckled. Onyx, keep some distance from Pikachu, then use Earthquake. Seeing that Pikachu wasn't only unable to get close to Onyx, but was actually sapping his strength, Yu couldn't help but feel anxious, but the years of hard work kept him from showing it on his face. Looking at Pikachu's shambling figure on the battlefield, Yu suddenly had an idea. Pikachu, use your tail to bounce up, avoid the earthquake, and get close to Onyx. Pikachu's tail was like a powerful spring, pushing against the ground and launching Pikachu high into the air. The bounced-up Pikachu quickly approached Onyx like an arrow from a bow. What? Yanyi was startled, but quickly calmed down. Onyx, use Rockfall. Pikachu, use Iron Tail to knock down the rocks. Pikachu choo bang, bang, bang. Pikachu swatted the rocks away one by one. This, however, created some distance between Onyx and Pikachu. But even so, Pikachu, quickly climb onto Onyx's head, grab its horns, and use Thunder? No. Quick. Onyx uses Rage first, then Dig. Pikachu, don't give it a chance. Use Iron Tail to stop it. Because of Pikachu's interference, Onyx couldn't use Dig either, and could only wail in pain. Pikachu seized the opportunity to use Thunder. A thick bolt of lightning struck from Onyx's horns. Even for a rock-type Onyx, the thunder was severely damaged. The trainers watching from the podium exclaimed in surprise. What's going on? Aren't electric-type skills ineffective against rock-type Pokémon? Yet? How could that be? Oh. I see. Yu is using Pikachu as a lightning rod, using Onyx's horns as the entry point. A trainer revealed the key. And Yanyi, perhaps knowing this, is why he wanted Onyx to use Dig. Am I right? Yan wrong. Hey. Yan wrong, your brother is about to lose, why aren't you worried at all? Another trainer chimed in, then looked at a boy beside him who looked vaguely like Yanyi. Xiaozhi, don't worry about it. And you forgot to mention that Pikachu's grip on Onyx and those Iron Tail strikes on its head just now are the reason Onyx was so seriously injured, Yan Rong said slowly. Oh, look, your brother has made a new move. On the battlefield, as Pikachu was thrown out, Yanyi issued a new order, give it a try. Onyx, use all your strength to attack. Chapter 23 Defeat. Just what I want. Pikachu, unleash your full strength Iron Tail. Yu immediately gave the order. The two Pokemon's full strength attacks collided, creating a sound like an explosion and sending up clouds of dust. While Onyx's rage increased its attack power, it also significantly reduced its stamina. Pikachu, while not receiving a boost in attack power, had Iron Tail as a steel-type skill, making the two Pokemon evenly matched. The battle became a matter of who would collapse first. The situation remained stagnant, the two Pokemon staring at each other, neither willing to give in. Bang! Finally, Onyx, suffering from its more severe injuries, collapsed first. Pikachu breathed a sigh of relief as he watched Onyx fall. He turned back and called out to Yu, as if to say, see. I won. I didn't let you down, Master. Then, he too collapsed. That's it. The victorious Pokemon is Pikachu, said the referee. This brat. Yu walked over with a smile, rubbing Pikachu's head before taking two potions from his space ring. He tossed one to Yanyi and gave the other to Pikachu. Thanks. Yanyi didn't hesitate, uncorking the bottle and pouring it directly into Onyx's mouth. We still lost, Xiaozhi sighed in the stands. What a shame, it's okay. Just keep working hard and win again next time. A maid then came over to Yu and tied a white cape around him, congratulating him with a smile. Today, I'm bestowing the title of Baron upon Lord Yu of China. Congratulations. Thank you, Yu. Congratulations. Let's fight together again next time. I need to go and sort out today's gains. I'll be leaving now. At this moment, Yanyi approached. Watching Yanyi's impetuous figure, Yu couldn't help but shake his head, sighing, what a battle fanatic. Little did he know, He himself was a battle fanatic too. Sorry, that's just my brother's personality, Yanrong approached with Xiaozin. Oh. By the way, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Yanrong, Yan Yi's older brother, and Xiaozin is my current travel companion. Hello. What can I do for you? Oh, nothing. I just wanted to get to know you. We must battle each other someday, how about we do it now? I'll use other Pokemon? Yu was immediately excited at the thought of a Pokemon battle. Yanrong was stunned by Yu's performance, then thought for a moment and smiled. That's fine, but I'm an Earl now, so let's just do it as a practice match, okay? Yu knew he was only a Baron and didn't have the ability to challenge an Earl yet, so he said nothing and followed Yanrong and Xiaozin straight to an unoccupied battle arena. The rules of the game are that each player sends out a Pokemon and the battle continues until one player loses their ability to fight. Is that okay? Xiaozin, who is acting as referee, said. No problem, just what I want. Now, both sides, please send out your Pokemon, go. Rocket, your turn. Slime. Yu was visibly taken aback when he saw Slime. He hadn't expected a man like Yanrong to use a feminine Pokemon. But he quickly reacted and gave the order, Rocket, use Steel Wing, Slime, move aside, then use Immobilize. Perhaps noticing Yu's obvious surprise, Yanrong gave the order calmly, then explained, this Slime is my girlfriend's. She left it with me. I'll use it against you this time. Rocket, quickly approach Slime, then use Spin Attack. Oh. Your Rocket is truly remarkable. In that case, Slime will use its fastest self-sacrificing charge, Yanrong exclaimed. Bodin Slime yelled, charging at Rocket at breakneck speed. However, despite its speed, Rocket was still faster. Rocket Sparrow didn't fight head-on. At the moment of contact, it quickly appeared behind Fatty and knocked it back with force. Boding, Fatty got up and looked at his dirty body, and immediately became angry. Without waiting for Yanrong's order, he used the Taishan pressure to get on top of Rocket Sparrow's head, but Rocket Sparrow dodged it nimbly. But before Rocket Sparrow could react, Fatty used another slapping skill, knocking Rocket Sparrow down from the air to the ground. Without giving Yu time to give orders, he used the singing skill again. Listening to the light singing, Rocket Sparrow, who was knocked to the ground, was already a little dizzy, and now it fell asleep without any resistance, and had no power to resist at all. Fatty seemed to be still not satisfied, and used a series of slaps. Pa, it was so loud. Yu and Xiaozin on the side were stunned. My girlfriend's Squidward is quite peculiar. She's extremely afraid of dirt. Once she gets even the slightest bit of it on her, she'll go berserk, Yanrong said sheepishly, rubbing his nose. Well, since Blazon has lost its ability to fight, Yanrong is the winner. Xiaozin didn't know what to say, and after a long pause, she finally spoke. Well, Yu, I'm so sorry. I have to go give Squidward a bath now, so I'll excuse you. We'll have a proper competition next time. With my Pokemon, of course. Yanrong put Squidward into his Pokeball and smiled at the dazed Yu. It's okay. Your business is more important. Go. Yu gave Blazon some medicine and put it back into his Pokeball. Watching Yanrong's retreating figure, Yu looked a little dejected, but on reflection, it was understandable. Since Yu's Pokemon battle debut, he'd either won completely or narrowly, but never lost. And now, he'd been defeated, completely, to a Pokemon he considered weak. Thinking back on this failure, Yu couldn't help but be shocked. Why did he become so competitive and didn't care about winning or losing? Thinking about the consequences of this on himself in the future, Yu was terrified, and cold sweat broke out on his back. Afterwards, Yu found an empty seat and sat there to reflect. Hey. Yu, I actually met you here, what a coincidence. At this time, a familiar female voice sounded in his ears. Turning his head, he saw that it was a girl he knew at the Britannia Institute. Her name was Ayer, and she seemed to have a very powerful teacher. Chapter 24 Traveling Together. It's you. Ayer, what a coincidence, Yu said with a somewhat depressed mood. After just reflecting on it, although he had let it go, letting it go was another matter. What's wrong with you? Why do you seem so down? Ayer came and sat down next to Yu, asking with concern. Nothing, I just lost a game, Yu explained. Is that so? It's normal for Pokemon battles to have winners and losers, but it's precisely because of this that Pokemon battles become interesting. Air stood in front of her feet, the sunlight shining on her delicate face, giving her a touch of tranquil beauty, which Shivan Yu couldn't help but stare at. Yes, Pokemon battles are more exciting precisely because of the wins and losses, so why should I bother about the wins and losses? After hearing Air's words, Yu was also relieved. A clear thought suddenly flooded into his limbs, making him feel comfortable. Even the bottleneck in his martial arts that had been unbreakable for a long time seemed to loosen a little. Thank you, Air. Yu thanked Air earnestly. If it weren't for Air, he might not know how long he would have been entangled. You're welcome. As long as you can let it go, Air smiled sweetly. By the way, I haven't asked yet. Why did you come to the Battle Castle alone, me? I came to find my brother. I also plan to go out for a trip and see if I can go with him. It would be lonely and boring to be alone. Aren't you a Pokemon performer? Why do you have to travel, you idiot? You only know Pokemon battles and don't know anything else, Air said coquettishly. Then she helped Yu explain. The competition I participated in is called the Triple Crown Satellite Tournament, and the Triple Crown Satellite Tournament is divided into two different levels, Novice Low-Level Tournament and Master High-Level Tournament. Trainers initially participate in the Novice Low-Level Tournament. If they win more than 3 championships in various major competitions, they will receive a Princess Key. With 3 Princess Keys, they can participate in the Master High-Level Tournament. Pokemon and trainers who win the Master High-Level Tournament will receive the title of Queen of Kalos. Oh, so that's it. So you have to collect badges, Princess Keys, like us. But your qualifications for the competition are too low. You only need to get 3 keys to qualify. Yu's words were met with another roll of the eyes from Air, and he continued to explain. Do you think Princess Keys are so easy to get? Let's not talk about those talented contestants, just talk about those venues. Some places are only held once, and after winning the championship, you can only get 1 Princess Key. What's more, there are so many contestants. In that case, Teacher Air is really amazing, Yu praised. Of course. Okay, I'm going to go find my brother now. See you later, Air said proudly. See you later. After watching Air walk away, Yu also stood up and took the Pokemon to find a place to train. Because he didn't want to lose again. Meanwhile, in a room in the Battle Castle, Yanrong had already released Jigglypuff and started to give it a bath. But Yanrong was in a difficult situation at the moment. He didn't know how to bathe a Pokemon, and he had never done so before. Yanrong, what are you still standing there for? Hurry up and start bathing Jigglypuff. Xiaozhi, who was standing nearby, urged Yanrong, noticing Yanrong's hesitation. Hey, Xiaozhi, do you know how to bathe a Pokemon? Yanrong came over, rubbing his hands, and asked Xiaozhi a little embarrassedly. No, Xiaozhi was confused by the question. Then do you believe me when I say I don't know how? Yanrong said with a bitter face. You're kidding me, aren't you? Xiaozhi was a little unconvinced, but looking at Yanrong's bitter face, Xiaozhi reassured, you really can't, I really can't. Why would I lie to you? I'm not making any money, Yanrong said, feeling somewhat helpless. So what should we do? Your girlfriend's chubby little dog won't beat us up too, will it? Oh, I don't know. She can't be that vicious, Yanrong scratched his head uncertainly. Xiaozhi was speechless now. How could he have such a friend? It's okay, we'll just stall for a while. My sister is coming to see me today, and then we can. What can you do? Brother, a sudden voice from the doorway interrupted Xiaozhi, startling them both. It's Air. You're so silent when you walk. I was almost scared to death by you, little girl. Xiaozhi patted his chest, still a little frightened. It's you, Air. It's been so long. You've gotten prettier. Yanrong was startled, but quickly recovered. It was Air, who had recently separated from Yu, and the brother she was referring to was Xiaozhi. HMPH. I'll scare you to death. You only know how to think up bad ideas. Tell me what you want me to do this time, Air said mercilessly. Isn't this? Xiaozhi chuckled and recounted the whole story. So Yu was defeated by you. And then you want me to help wash Fattyling? Yanrong and Xiaozhi nodded enthusiastically. Air pondered for a moment before agreeing. I can help you, but you have to agree to one condition. Okay. Okay. Go help Fattyling wash his head. Or else Fattyling will really beat us up. Xiaozin agreed quickly, fearing that Fatty Ding would beat us up the next moment. Well, then, wait outside, Air dismissed them all. Half an hour later. Why are they so slow? Xiaozin and Yanrong waited outside, somewhat bored. Hey, what are you doing here? Yiyu, who had finished training, approached from a short distance and asked curiously at the two people standing by the door. We're waiting for someone. You look so sweaty. Did you go to train yet? I won't lose so miserably next time, Yiyu. The door to the room opened, and Air came out, holding Jigglypuff. Seeing Yiyu standing at the door, she said happily. Well, Air, didn't you go look for your brother? Oh. Let me introduce you. This is my brother, Xiaozin, a Pokemon trainer, and Yanrong, my brother's childhood friend, also a Pokemon trainer. Air then pointed at Yiyu and said, as for this one, it's my friend, Yiyu. He's also a Pokemon trainer. Air, we've known this Yiyu brother before. Xiaozin then recounted what had happened. Oh. I see. Then I've made up my mind. I plan to travel with you. Air suddenly said something shocking. Chapter 25 The Past. Ah. How can that be? I don't agree. Xiaozin and Yanrong were both shocked by Air's words, and Xiaozin rejected it without a second thought. Why not? Air said, somewhat unconvinced by her brother's decisiveness. This, no means no, there's no why. Xiaozin was a little speechless at Air's question, but she remained bossy. Didn't you just owe me a condition? I want to travel with you, that's my condition. Air then stuck out her tongue and playfully said, brother, that's what you just promised, you can't go back on your word. And convincing mom and dad is up to you, too. This, Xiaozin was speechless. He had no choice but to swallow his words, having already agreed to Air's request. He, Yiyu, will travel together from now on. Please take care of me. Looking at the pretty Air before him, Yiyu couldn't help but sink into memories. Regional dividing line, China, atop an unknown mountain. Three elders, each with a sage-like demeanor, sat facing each other, chatting casually. Alice. Old Zhao, why don't you worry about your little you? After all, you haven't seen each other in 6 years, one of the elders, wearing a red robe, said. Haha. Because of that incident, he's become reluctant to interact with others, and Pokemon have become his best friends. This opportunity will help him reconnect with the outside world, said the white-robed elder, known as Old Zhao. If you were here, he would have jumped in surprise, for he knew all three elders. The one who had just responded was his master, Zhao Kuang. The other two were Zhao Kuang's close friends. The red-robed elder was Li Yong. Because he wielded fire-type Pokemon and possessed the Flame Emperor, one of the three sacred beasts, some respectfully called him Flame Emperor. The purple-robed elder beside them was Chen Huan. Similarly, because he wielded electric-type Pokemon and possessed the Thunder God, one of the three sacred beasts, some respectfully called him Thunder God, Alice. Actually, this incident is our fault, Chen Huan sighed. It's come to this, there's no point in saying this. We can only blame ourselves for being too weak, and ultimately, it's all been hard on you. And those two girls clearly loved you so much, yet they were still like that. Sigh. Li Yong also sighed. It can't be helped. No matter how powerful we are, we can't defeat the state apparatus. Because that incident also changed Yiyu a lot, and made him mature a lot. But I'm afraid the old Yiyu will hardly appear again, Zhao Kuang sighed, suddenly feeling a little old. Yet, after all, he hid his emotions. All that was left was his love for Pokemon and his passion for battles. But that kid is also a person who is cold on the outside but warm on the inside. Chen Huan also suddenly felt a little sad. After all, they had watched Yiyu grow up, and it was hard for them to bear to see him become like this. Let's not be so pessimistic. I heard that kid's become quite famous in the martial arts world lately. He's already reached Grandmaster status at such a young age, and has even been dubbed the Fiery Spear by the martial arts community. Yet, not bad, not bad. He has some of my style back then. Zhao Kuang's attention was quickly diverted, and he tossed his slightly graying hair proudly. HMPH. My granddaughter is no weaker than you, brat. She's only 2 years older, and already has tens of billions in assets, Chen Huan boasted. Tisk, what's that? My granddaughter is only a year younger, but she's already reached Grandmaster status, and her martial arts talent surpasses you brats, Li Yong retorted with disdain. You. Old man Li, Haven't you been sparring in a while? Are you itching for a fight? So what? Want to fight? Come on, hey. How old are you two? Still bickering like kids? Eat an orange and cool off. Shut up, Li Yuang and Chen Huan said in unison. Voices soon emanated from the mountaintop. Memory divider, senior sister. I heard you and Zuner's birthday is today, so I prepared a gift for you. Yu smiled happily as he gazed at the stunningly beautiful girl in a purple dress. Though only 11 or 12 years old, the girl in the purple dress had already grown into a graceful young lady, and it was clear she would be a beauty when she grew up. Looking at Yu, whose clothes were smudged and disheveled from not knowing where she had gone, Chen Kalin said calmly, Yu, go back first. Why? Yu was stunned, confused as to why his senior sister wanted him to leave. Hey. Why? Just because you're of low status, a wild child without parents. Is this enough? At this moment, a young man in a gorgeous robe and with a haughty expression approached, his face scornful. What did you say? Say it again. Angrily, Yu reached out to grab the boy's collar, but Chen Kalin stopped him. Stop, Yu. This young Master Yang is my honored guest. Don't be rude. Apologize now. I won't. Why? Yu's face was full of reluctance. Because I'm your senior sister. Apologize now. Sorry. Yu's face was filled with reluctance, her heart filled with grievance. Haha, a wild child is a wild child. Even the gift is garbage. Seeing this, young Master Yang laughed unscrupulously and twitted. He grabbed the gift from Yu's hand and threw it to the ground. No, thud, the sound of the object falling was heartbreaking. This was a gift he had prepared for a long time, intended for his senior sister and Zuner. Young Master Yang, please forgive me. Yu, get out of here right now. Chen Kalin, who was standing by, saw Yu's heartbreak, but although she felt sorry for him, she still spoke up. Why, senior sister, how could you do this? Yu roared, unable to control his anger. Because my senior sister and I are not from the same world as you, a familiar voice called from behind Yu. It was Zuner's voice. Yu turned around and saw Zuner, dressed in a turquoise princess dress, approaching with graceful steps. As she passed him, she didn't even glance at him, but went straight to young Master Yang and started chatting with him. Seeing the smiles on the faces of senior sister and Zuner as they spoke with young Master Yang, Yu felt the distance between him and them suddenly grow wider, not physically, but emotionally. Dejectedly, he picked up the gift that had fallen to the ground and left silently. After returning to his cabin in the mountains, Yu locked himself inside and didn't leave for several days. Even when Zhao Kuang yelled at him outside, he didn't respond. A few days later, Yu finally emerged from his room, a beaming smile on his face. Zhao Kuang sensed a moment later and realized Yu had made a breakthrough. But before he could rejoice for long, he realized that although Yu was still smiling as usual, she hadn't truly engaged with the situation. It felt like he had shut himself off. Although he still interacted with others, he gave people the feeling that he was unwilling to fully reveal himself. Only when facing Pokemon would he reveal his previous knowing smile. Yu? What's wrong with you? Don't you want me to go with you? Air waved her little hand in front of Yu's eyes and said angrily. He dares to despise my sister. I'll beat him up, Xiaozhi shouted from the side. No, then what were you daydreaming about? I called you so many times but you didn't respond. Sorry, I was thinking about something just now. Then it's settled that I'll travel with you. Hey, End of this chapter. Thank you so much for reading until the end. Don't forget to give it a like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription or donation encourages us to continue. Thank you all. See you in the next video.